Oh, man, I love the game of golf. It was a beautiful day out here today, wasn't it, baby girl? You didn't think it was a nice day today?
Well, I am sweating all over, so no, I didn't really think it was.
Well, I mean, you got to drive the car. You got to drive the car, and it did have the hood on it, so it kept the sun off of you.
Yeah, but it had no air conditioning.
Well, okay, fair enough. So, we're going to get something to eat, right?
Of course.
Cool.
And you're obviously paying, right?
Always. Always. Man, golf is a fun sport. Hey, I drove the ball pretty well today, don't you think?
Pretty well to the far right, yeah?
But, okay, even though I went right, my iron game was really good, and I was able to fight my way out of that.
Yeah, but you hit it into the sand, and you did that quite often, might I add.
Even when I went in the sand, my chip was really tight, so I was able to get out of there and get close to the flag.
After 3 times.
You have to admit, though, my putting game was really good, and it saved me a lot of the times from all of the bad hits I had out in the fairway.
And it only took you 11 holes. Listen, until you get a good golfing game, I'm going to keep giving you shit.
I'm improving. I mean, since I've gotten started, haven't I got a lot better?
Yes, you've gotten better since your injury.
We don't have to talk about my shoulder, but I mean, that's another reason why it's coming along slowly, but, you know, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it.
Sure.
Hey, baby girl, I'm about to go hop in the shower. When I get out, we head out to the volleyball tournament, okay?
Okay. Oh, can I use my the computer?
Oh, yeah, of course, baby. Of course. Hey, baby girl.
Yeah.
Repetition breeds familiarity.
Familiarity breeds comfort. Comfort breeds complacency or success. We're going for the latter rather than the former.
All right, good deal. Handle business.
Okay.
Hey, remember you're a beast out there. Act like it.
I will.
All right.
Let me see what he got in these emails. Spam. Overdue bills. Not surprised. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. Young nigga got it bad 'cause he's broke. What is this? Sarah? Linda? Becky? Amber? Amy? Molly? Ginger? Heather? Karen? Oh, hell no. We are not having this. No, I don't want no Pancake Tuesdays. Oh, God, delete. No, I do not want your lemon bars, Karen. Ooh, my dad's gonna get...
Do you have strong opinions and you're looking for a way to express them? Are you tired of carbon copy sports radio that infests the airwaves? Do you have creative concepts and ideas that you want to share with the world? Then this is not the commercial for you. This commercial is all about
Kinko's University.
That's right. Kinko's University gets you prepared for the podcasting world when you don't have the chops for it. If you're one of the many people looking to get into podcasting, but you just don't have the skill, Kinko's University is the university for you.
I want to do a podcast, but where do I start? And what do I talk about? Kinko's University.
Don't worry, here at Kinko's University, the first thing we teach you about is OPP. That's right, other people's perspective. So you can always have something to talk about getting it from another source.
Podcasting looks fun, but do I really have to do all that research and show prep? Kinko's University.
Absolutely not. Here at Kinko's, we have classes like No Preparation 101, where we teach you to get around all of that pesky show prep because we know you don't have the time.
I wonder what the best time slot is to get the most listeners. Kinko's University.
Don't worry, here at Kinko's, we have a class called Recycling Ideas 101, where you can find a time slot that works and just jump in that slot to try to make it happen for yourself.
Kinko's University. I want to come up with new content and subject matter, but I'm not that creative.
You'll also take Regurgitation 101, which will help you come up with other people's subject matter that you can recycle and make your own. That's right, here at Kinko's, we teach you how to get around hard work, getting new wrinkles in your brain, and having to work hard at your craft. Come to Kinko's, where you can take these top courses with top teachers. Most people that go to Kinko's graduate with Kinko's degrees, that's right, as master copiers. Kinko's University, for the skilled impaired.
Kinko's University is not a real university and is not accredited. You don't actually learn any skills. You just learn how to mimic people who have actual skill.
Posting in the paint with Doc Bell and Amy Blackman. Underground Railroad Show with that ninja. Militant Monday, Spreaker.com. All aboard, have your tickets ready because the train has arrived. Delayed or on time, it's time to get on board. That ninja. All aboard, have your tickets ready because the train has arrived. Delayed or on time, it's time to get on board.
What's going on, fam? This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Thank you for coming aboard. Hope you are enjoying the ride thus far. My apologies. Right off the bat, I said around 4-ish, so obviously I was short on getting that time frame locked in.
Motherfucker.
Oh, let's make that early show adjustment. That should be sufficient. So my apologies for that right off the riff. I didn't let you know that I wasn't going to do a show on Memorial Day. I wasn't thinking ahead. I knew that my brother was coming into town, and I wasn't thinking about it. It wasn't the fact that it was Memorial Day in particular. That wasn't necessarily the reason. I didn't have a family gathering on that day. We did it on Sunday. But I should have forewarned you. It was very, 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 very Caucasian of me to not give you any type of warning and not show up. I apologize. Yesterday, I didn't do a show, but okay, right off the bat, sorry about Monday. I should have let you know ahead of time. My brother was still in town, so we just sat around and chopped it up until he left that evening. Kind of late around that evening, he let traffic die, hit the road, night driving like we do. So he left about 10 or so, 9-something, 10. Good time for the road, not to be too busy. You know what I'm saying? It's a good time to drive. So he left around that time, at which point I crashed out for the evening. So, and as we're talking about that, before we move on, and this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Broadcasted on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Been told I need to repeat that. It is available on YouTube. I send the alert out on Twitch because it's just easier to do. At one point or another, I may intentionally try to broadcast or feature the show on YouTube as far as the chat. I may do that, but at the moment, not something that's a extreme need. One upgrade made by StreamYard, there's a change in the way that they are holding. This is actually a good upgrade. It allows you to see more in an easier way, distinguish things. This is much better. Okay, I see you, StreamYard. I see you trying to improve. I see it. I see it. Okay, but before we move any further, let's do two things before we move any further. And okay, that'll have to do. That'll have to do. Yeah, this is definitely an improvement. Definitely an improvement. And let's go ahead and lay out today's format. Once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. The title of today's show is simply the 10th Annual Show on Religion Review.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
The 10th Annual Show on Religion Review.
God damn anybody who doesn't glorify his work.
I'll clarify, and I spoke about this and why I may do this, and I'll lay that out in 1 second. But two things first. First, happy born day to my little brother, Richard Tiller. Happy born day to my little bro. It's only 1 year, but he's still my little bro. Happy born day to my little bro, Richard Tiller Slim. Happy born day, sir. Enjoy your day, enjoy your week, enjoy your life. Bomb drop to my little brother. Happy born day, Slim. Speaking of which, and again, I apologize for Monday, and I need to apologize for yesterday. I fully planned on doing a show. I talked to Light Skywalker earlier that day. So my plan was to do a show. He asked me if I was going to do a show. I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, around the normal time. I told him 5 Central, 6 Eastern. And that was my plan. I had this show ready to go. I was going to do this show. This is the same shit I was going to do yesterday. But there is one change. There's only one addition, and that's part of the initial intro. And let me make sure I don't forget that. So I talked to Light Skywalker, aka ABM, and I told him that my full intention was to do a show yesterday. And it was, and I got situated. I had the show ready to go, but as the day went on, I was going to use the show as a distraction, but it just didn't work for me. It was best for me not to do a show that day. I wasn't in a good mind state. But in that spirit, R.I.P. DT. R.I.P. DT. Upon yesterday, R.I.P. DT. R.I.P. DT. Didn't do it at the top because we're in the middle. Top of the hour, you know, as I do. Birthdays, transition days, and as it comes up, Father's Day. Time of year sucks to a degree. Top of the hour, I'll take a shot for Pop. R.I.P. DT. So I apologize for yesterday. All right, man, let's get it going. As I talked about, I'm no longer going to do the Ninjaversary. To quote Jay Valentine of the R&B Money podcast, the juice isn't worth the squeeze for me anymore. And with this new format and the way that it's set up, it would make it extremely difficult to do the Ninjaversary in the manner that I used to. So my last year on Spreaker, I didn't do one because the platform wasn't available to do it on. I didn't want to try it on a new platform. And at that point, at least for, if I'm being honest, 2 or 3 years, the juice probably wasn't worth the squeeze. So the Ninjaversary is suspended. For those that don't know, those that might not be aware, the Ninjaversary was a end of the year celebration, top of the year, but it was end of the year celebration, top of the new year, generally speaking. After the annual Dr. King and Malcolm X show, I would have the Ninjaversary. a tribute to the listeners where I had a lot of show clips. I took show clips from various shows and tried to include, all of the all of the participants and passengers on the train, and gave out awards according to their contribution and moments during the show that stood out for me. So that was something I did yearly. We got to, I guess, 9 of them, and we never got to the 10th because, again, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Now, in that spirit, instead of doing the Ninjaversary, I spoke a few shows ago how and again, for me, the annual show on religion is always one of my favorite shows. I enjoy it immensely. So because I enjoy it immensely, I always go back and listen to it. I always go back and listen to my shows for quality control improvements. I've noticed that doing these shows, for whatever reason, even though I'm there, I'm engaged, I'm fully engaged, I'm in the moment, I'll still miss things due to either audio distortion or just being kind of hyped up, and that thing I try to combat. And I know people are gonna laugh at this, but I try to combat that, having your gun cocked, having your response cocked and loaded, and as opposed to listening and just being engaged in what that individual is saying. So that's why I try to keep some paper around, and I'll jot down something I might want to respond so I can release that thought and be engaged in said conversation. But even though I'm right there, I always listen to the replay and I'll always catch something. I'll be too close to the forest to see the trees, and a chat that is as plain as day won't be plain as day to me in that moment. And as I read it again, and as I hear myself saying it, I'm like, that's what they meant. It might have been referencing something that happened earlier in the show and I didn't catch on to it during the show. So I'll catch things like that and try to improve that. I'll listen for audio distortion. I'll listen to see if my voice inflection is good, if I'm enthusiastic. If I sound like I'm not enjoying it, you're definitely not going to. So, all of these little things, soundbite volume, mic volume, it's a quality control thing. And generally speaking, I enjoy listening to the replay. So I do that. That's just normalcy. But the annual show on religion, every year, it never fails. I listen to that one. I listen to that replay more than any of them. It's not even close. If I'm just talking about randomly, just one day I might want to hear some shit, I'm throwing that on. That back and forth in the chat conversation is hysterical. The other side of that is that even though that show went a little bit longer than 5 hours, I didn't get out everything I wanted to say. I was energized. I felt great. I was not tired at all. I was up for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours after that, which is not good. I get up at 5 in the morning. I need to take my ass to bed. But I was just energized and, fully awake. I know it can be a bad thing because it, quote unquote, cleanses my soul. It's like an audio baptism, if you will.
What? Nigga, please.
So it's just a personal favorite of mine, for many reasons. But the entire point of that, as I always rant, is that I can't get all of my thoughts out. Even though that show went 5 hours long, Raider talked to me for, the great Raider for Life talked to me for at least 3.5 to 4 hours, before, I realized how selfish I was being and I had to let that man get back to his life. But he gave us 3.5, 4 strong hours of back and forth and great content. So with that in mind, I just didn't have, even though it went that long, even though I was trying to be thorough, I said it as I say every year, there's so many things I want to get into, but I don't have time because I also want to respect the chat. And a lot of the chat led to great conversation. So it's just one of my favorite shows because of the instant content, the instant response that you provide as passengers, and the back and forth I had with the Reverend Raider for Life that I always enjoy. And this year was even more enjoyable. So, and it's we have our thoughts and primary thoughts on certain things and certain moments, comedic moments. All of these things happen during the course of that show. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you, I think, 9 clips. I have 9 clips from that show. 9 little short clips. Nothing no 10, 30-minute, none of that. You know what I'm saying? All of these clips are less than 5 minutes. 3 minutes at the most. Maybe there's one that's 3 minutes and some seconds. Maybe there's a 4-minute clip, maybe. But there are no extended clips like with the Ninjaversary. Let me be specific about that. 3 minutes or less for most of these clips. Nothing, I think, longer than 4 minutes. So it's broken down in those little intervals, and that's going to allow me to rehash certain moments and get out thoughts that I might not have been able to get out then, or maybe I had some thoughts when I'm listening, should have said that, should have said this. So I'm going to, be able to do that today, and it's a good review for people that didn't see it. It's a small section, but it's a nice little example of what the show was, so people can understand what it is as opposed to what others might tell you it is. I'm not one to get on the phone and, that's moist shit to me. But, there are some that might get on the phone and talk about things. But, when people hear about it, better yet, it's what I say at the end of every show. Most of the time on this format, I've been a little lazy. I've closed the shows out without my usual closing, and I'm going to stop that. And also today, the reading of the Cow Awards that I did not get to last show. Also that today as well. So fully packed show. So with these clips and dealing with some of the chats, some of the chat and some of your thoughts and questions that you had, some things that I meant to say, some things that were said that I like to expound upon, I'm going to be able to do that today with these only 9 clips, 9 very short clips, but it's a nice summation. It's something for you to see if you weren't, as I say at the end of all my shows, secondhand information. It's up to me to research it and look into it for myself. And this is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. I just noticed the pause in the feed, and I don't understand why. That is the platform itself. But let me continue. So it's going to allow me to review that. And because I'm no longer going to do the Ninjaversary again, the juice is not worth the squeeze, I'll give you breakdowns and reviews of certain shows. I'm probably going to go back and give you a breakdown of the NFL draft show, but I'm going to do it later on when we can go back and hear our thoughts in real time and see how they translate to what actually happens on the field. Something that you'll never get from the mainstream media. Accountability is not something that they do. They like to make outrageous claims that never come to fruition, and they're never held to task. My thoughts, ABM's thoughts on teams draft when it's applicable during the season. So I'm holding that for a reason. I want to do that when football season is going as an extra show, because during football season, I only have time to review the games from the weekend. I'm a football head. I'm going to give you college and NFL. You're going to have thoughts. I'm going to respond to that. That's all we really have time for during football season if I'm talking about a singular show. So we have, freestyle shows and extra shows during football season to maybe get into specific subject matter and or specific topics, because I'm not going to have time to do that during football season. Too much football. So I'm going to give you the review of the NFL draft show during the season when we're actually seeing if things that we said are coming to fruition, we were wrong, or if teams are doing better than we thought or worse than we thought, at least in that moment. There are going to be certain shows that I'll do a review on, and that'll be, like a Cliff Notes version of what the Ninjaversary used to be. It'll be a Cliff Notes version of what the Ninjaversary used to be. So I'll never do that again. Again, juice not worth the squeeze, but I'll do what I'm going to do today, which is a review on this show. And before I move too quickly, once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Oh, you know what? I'm not going to do it right now because, well, yeah, I will. Fuck it. I apologize for that. And I just saw a chat, and I know I'm not supposed to talk about chat as I'm going. I didn't do that, and I need my ass kicked for that. Let me fix that, sir. Because of the platform that I'm on now, I can't if I go longer than 2 hours, the show is not the show is not available on Twitch. You can find it on YouTube, but it's hard to find right now because I guess I need to get my algorithm up or whatever. Wait a minute, that's not right. I need to get my algorithm up. But right now, sometimes people have a hard time finding the show. And what I normally do after the shows is I send them back out on social media so people can review said shows. So I'm actually doing that as we speak. I did not send out the annual show on religion. As I glanced at the chat, I saw, that was being said in the chat room. My apologies, sir. Slow down, T. My apologies, sir. I am literally doing that as we speak. My apologies, I didn't do that. I have to be diligent about that. I'm spoiled from the last platform where the show was just available. I need to be cognizant of the fact that this particular platform doesn't do that. And I'll do a more thorough job, but now it is available. My apologies, sir. You are correct. My apologies. All right. Okay. See the chat. It's not that deep, so let me go ahead and do what I was going to do. Memorial Day weekend. So a couple of things, and I'm speaking about this, and I'm going to come back to it. But let me go back to Memorial Day weekend. My brother came to town. The aforementioned Slim came to town. He was here all weekend. My niece graduated. And as we're talking about that, let's get back to where we need to be in the chat. Oh, not in the chat, but in this here board. And I'm still trying to get right. Congratulations to my niece Amari. Not only graduating, but graduating a year early. I forget about the specifics, but there's a certain route you can go where you do extra work and put in extra work to graduate early, and my niece accomplished that. Congratulations. Proud of you. Unc's proud of you. Congratulations on your graduation. Shout out to my niece Amari graduating. Something else I should have done at the top of the show. Let's drop a bomb for that. But because my niece graduated, was graduating, my brother came down. My brother drove down, stayed with me this weekend. So got to enjoy my brother's company. We sat around, talk shit. Do what we normally do. He hits up the skating rink as he does. So shouts out to my niece for graduating. Not only graduating, but graduating early. And shout out to my sister for the job she's done and doing with her children. So that's the reason bro was in town. So, we kicked it or whatever. I didn't make it to the graduation. I was a little busy at work, but I made it to the dinner afterwards. My other sister was there. It was a good weekend, just remembering just a lot of things because we're talking about, Pop's passing, my brother's birthday, niece graduating, but it was just a reminder. This is something, again, annual show on religion. I got some more things to get into as far as that, but this is what Raider and others would call signs and whatnot. But it was a great weekend for just considering what it was, the time of year it was, and the things that are on my brain. It was a good time to get together and just see the, remember that I need to stay tight with family. I need to do something or do better about fostering the relationship with my siblings that are here and readily available. I need to do better about that. And it was just the weekend was a reminder of that. I had a great time with the family, eating dinner afterwards. Going out to eat. Went to a spot called Jonathan's. Had a good time there. Took some pictures, all of that good shit. So it was just a reminder. And as we're talking about Memorial Day weekend, quick thoughts on that. Quick review as people are coming in. By the time I get through this Memorial Day review and I can set up this show, because another thing I need to add about that, and I'm going to enjoy this. I think these clips are some nice short reviews, and it's a testament to the guests and the chat room and just what the conversation actually is, as opposed to what it might be framed as, the people that are getting taught, not learning, and hearing about it, but not investigating on their own. So But it was a good time. It was just a good time being around family. The first event was the after graduation dinner. The post that was fun. Sitting around talking to my sisters and my brother, taking pictures and all that, just having conversations, talking to my niece, talking to my sister's mother. So, all of that was it was a good time. It was a good time. Memorial Day weekend, we decided, as I spoke about my Uncle James that passed a little while back. And his daughter, my cousin, first cousin, grew up together, all that good shit. Said we need to get together for something other than a death or something somber. Let's get together for Memorial Day. You know what I'm saying? I'll get, she provided 95% of all the bread for the meat. I added a little bit. You know what I'm saying? She bought everything. All she asked me to do was grill. No problem. And we had, just told family to come over so we could just get together for something that was actually something other than death. So we got together not on Memorial Day because the weather was tricky in Huntsville that weekend. So we got together on Sunday. We figured that was the best day to avoid the all-day rain that was forecasted for the rest of the days. Rained pretty good on Saturday and Monday, so we made a good choice. It did rain on Sunday, but it was short-lived. And once it went away, it was gone. The 2 or 3 other fronts that were supposed to come through never made it. So we were good. And again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Chat room, I got you. I'm just setting everything up before I get into the crux of the show. So good Memorial Day weekend. And again, another reminder, it was just, invited my sisters over. Both my sisters came over with my nieces. And just watching my nieces talk to the other cousins that they didn't know or hadn't been around in a long time, I can appreciate and understand what all the old heads were doing when we were doing the same thing. They just like watching family get together, being aware of each other. You got a lot going on. You don't want any cross-pollination. So you need cousins to have familiarity. And if you know each other and you have familiarity, then you can at least get together every now and again, be close, you know what I'm saying, and have a better family unit. We were so much closer when I was younger. We were so much closer. Every year we got together on Uncle James' birthday, which was Christmas Eve. We did things together. We spent the night at the grandparents' house. It's just, I have to do better about not letting those things go to the wayside. We've had, barbecues at the house, me and Pop grilling, you know what I'm saying? But I haven't been diligent about that since his passing. So, if I'm going to do something other than sulking and all of that shit, do something that Papa want me to do. Let's do something to get the family together. So I just know after this weekend, I'm going to make much more of a concerted effort to do that. That's not hard. That's not hard. I can do that. So I'm going to do a lot better to do that. Fish fry here and there. Let's go meet at a damn restaurant. It's easy to do that. A week at a time, let's meet at this Mexican spot or this spot. Let's get a table. It's easy to do that. You can figure out how to get together really once a month if you want. But every other month, you can easily plan something. Easily. And I have to do better. So I'm going to make sure that I do that. This weekend was a good reminder of that. But I enjoyed watching, my cousin, who's a little conservative, just like me. As people that listen to me do this show are like, nigga, get the fuck out of here. Conservative. But I'm not really, if I'm comfortable with you, I'm talking to, and again, the people that we've gotten together, and as I've cut off people and apologized and cut them off again, it sounds crazy as I talk about me being, reserved, but generally speaking, that's my personality. So I get my niece. But as all the cousins got comfortable, I'm, peeking around the corner and watching them just talk and get familiar. And, it's just a good feeling. So I'm going to try to foster and facilitate that. Shout out to Cuz for doing a good job of doing that. And I'm going to, we can go back and forth with that. Do something here. Okay, let's do something there. So I'm just going to make sure I do that, especially with my siblings. I'm slipping on that. So if I want to honor Pop, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? That's better than getting good and toe up on the day it's passing this shit. Which I'm probably going to continue to do anyway. Which reminds me, I didn't do this. I don't think I did it. Top of the hour, every hour. R.I.P. DT. This is for 6 o'clock, so this is coming back in 13 minutes. Shot for Pop. All right. Got that out the way. So that was Memorial Day weekend. It was cool, though. It was cool. Grilling. 5 slabs of ribs, 10 pounds of chicken wings, ridiculous amount of chicken legs, hamburgers that were actually patted up. Which brings me to another thing. Hamburgers that were actually patted up, hot dogs. And I think that was it. I think that was it. So did that, people made their sides, potato salad, baked beans, things I don't eat. And TSA asked me this, and when she said it, I was like, you know what? That's a great question, and it's relevant. And before I get into what she asked me, let me double back. So I grilled or whatever, and I grilled Sunday morning. If it's really not a lot of food, I'm not going to do it the day before. It needs to be fresh. I've done a lot of grilling for big crowds. I've catered some things. I've done some side hustling. I've done reunions. So I know what it takes to grill. And, reunion, 60, 80 people, 100 people, shit like that. That's real grilling. I mean, the TSA thing, that was a decent amount of grilling, but I'm used to doing that. So with that being said, it's not a big deal. The little bit of food that we had, that's not a big deal to get up that morning and cook. So I just got up early, grilled outside. So I just did it at the house. So I got up early, and again, the weather held off. It was beautiful all morning. The rain didn't hit to the afternoon, and the forecast was that it was going to rain. But again, I checked out the radar, and everything was staying south of us. And as the morning came around, nothing changed. So it was beautiful outside. So I was good. Everything was already marinated and prepped, been sitting all night, and I already had the grill set up. So all I had to do was get up, set up some things, fire up the coals, just get to cooking. So I'm up early. We're going to get together at 2 o'clock. I probably started grilling at 8:45. I started grilling at 8:45. I'm using 2 grills just to make it quicker. So I'm grilling and whatnot. I got everything going. First thing I have going. And again, people that don't know, this is what we do. A little Memorial Day review, and there's a point to this. 2 grills going. I got Pop's grill. I got my grill. Got the ribs on Pop's grill, 5 slabs. Got all the chicken legs on the other grill. Got every rack filled up. So doing that, got everything going. Full disclosure, had to work the legs just a little bit. Then once everything settled down, they were good and they were where they needed to be. For about 15 minutes, I had to move them around and move in and out of hot spots. But got that going, so everything calls me. The great TSA calls me. TSA calls me and like, hey, Dad, what you doing? I said, nothing, I'm just grilling. Because we had talked, I said the family's getting together or whatever. She said, I'm a little busy that day, but I'll probably come through while you're grilling and get something. I said, cool. So at this point, it's 9 something, maybe 10, but probably closer to 9:30, 9:45, no later than 10 o'clock. Sitting around chilling, she calls me. We're sitting around talking. She like, and she said, I said, I bought 2 extra slabs because I know you probably wanted some ribs. She's like, yeah, those ribs look good. I want them as soon as they come off. And, as soon as she said that, I'm like, that's a strange statement. And I kind of looked around the corner or whatnot, didn't see anything, so I kept grilling. I said, I was like, yeah. I said, I got you. And she said, yeah, those look real good. They look about right. Now, at this point, I'm stupid. At this point, I'm dumb. I'm not paying attention. And I said, I got the ribs going. She said, what you doing? I said, I got the ribs going. And as I'm telling her this, I'm raising up the grill and moving them around. She's like, yeah, those look good. I raised up the legs. She was like, oh, okay. This and that. And then maybe on a minute delay, I finally caught on a little bit and started looking around the corner. I'm like, is this ninja here? And I just kept on about my business with us talking. And at one point, I turned around. This ninja standing in the house at the patio door with a big smile on the face on the phone. I forgot this ninja got a key. I forgot this ninja got a key. She done came over, let herself in, and she's staring at me. And when I didn't notice, she called me. And I'm talking to her for 2 good minutes before I finally turn around and see that she's right there. That's a damn shame. But at any rate, not very observant. At first, I kind of felt bad because my instincts should have been more, I should have had better instincts, in case I needed to protect myself. But again, I wasn't in danger. That's my child. That's the reason why my radar wasn't up. But at any rate, she was sitting there watching me grill, and as she was talking, I was slow. But once I did catch on, I started looking around, but I never looked in the house because for some reason I forgot my child got a key to the house, so I don't know what the hell I was thinking about. At any rate, but baby girl came over, and we were sitting around talking, saying she's watching me grill. We chatting it up. eating a bowl of strawberries, all that good shit. Fast forward, I'm moving along, getting everything done. She's like, "You making good time?" I was like, "Yeah, looks that way." I'm playing Frankie Beverly and Maze. I'm hearing her singing the chorus and shit. And at one point, I think I'm finishing up the wings. And I had pork chops on the other grill. I had pork chops on the other grill, pork chops on the rib grill. The ribs were done. Had wings on the grill that had chicken legs on. And as I'm finishing up the wings, pork chops are already in the pan, wrapped up. I'm over there working the wings hibachi style, just getting them aesthetically pleasing, because they done at this point. Shai, what you got left? I said, all I got left is the hamburgers and hot dogs. I put the hot dogs on. No, I didn't. Yeah, I did. I put the hot dogs on. I said, all I got left is the hamburgers. So the hot dogs were cooking. I'm working the wings. I said, all I got left is the burger. She was like, "Can I help you make the burgers?" I said, "I got to pat up the burgers." She's like, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, of course." I said, "As a matter of fact, if you want to, you can go ahead and knock them out." So as I got the wings straight, we went in the house. I showed her where the ground beef was, and I gave her, we need them this size. For people to grill burgers, a lot of people have a tendency to try to stretch it, and you make burgers they're too small. You have to really make nice size burgers, especially on the grill. That it's ideal because you're slow cooking to a degree, or hitting it with a nice little grill cook. So that's how you make a nice size burger. Cook it all the way through. I think 72 degrees Celsius, 100 and what is it? 100 and some Fahrenheit. I can't forget. But I think it's 71 degrees Celsius is a well done burger. For those that got internal thermometers and whatnot. But if you make a nice size burger, you can cook it all the way through. It's still going to be juicy and all of that. And it's going to take up the size of the bun. If you pat up those regular burgers, they're going to shrink down. It's hard to keep them good and juicy and whatnot. That's why some people, I don't believe in leaving red meat in the burger. So you got to pat up a nice size burger. So I gave her the size. As I'm out there doing the wings, she came to the window, showed me the burger. I said, gave it a thumbs up. She patted them up and hooked them up. So did the burgers and all of that. Just had a great time. The point of saying that she patted up the burgers when we got ready to eat over there at my cousin's house, at the family house, her house, the burgers were the first thing to go. And that's the one thing I wanted. Those were gone. I was like, damn it, man. At any rate, I even bought extra bones because I knew people were going to eat ribs. Burgers went first. First. But you got to pat them up nice size. But, at any rate, everything was cool. Everybody enjoyed the food. We had a great time. And it was just good to watch all the little cousins talk to each other. Just a reminder of how I can do little things to facilitate better relationship, amongst family. Attempting to do so tomorrow with bowling. So we'll see how that goes. Thank you for coming aboard the CSZ Underground Railroad Show, hosted by your boy, That Ninja. We're going to have the 10th annual Show on Religion review, featuring about 9 short clips and some thoughts that I can expound upon concerning that show. Let's go ahead and do intros. And then we'll get into the 10th annual Show on Religion review. And again, shout out to my man Raider for Life, who did an excellent job on that during that show. Excellent job. First man aboard the train, we got my man Sluggo the motherfucking Hammer. Thank you for coming aboard, sir. Coming aboard the train with his usual and traditional good evening.
Motherfucker.
And sir, I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what I said to facilitate the chat I'm seeing from you, sir. JBJ said, please send the YouTube link to the religion show. That's the one you never sent out. But it was great. It was a great discussion between two open-minded individuals.
God is good. God is good. God is good.
Amen, preacher.
I agree, sir. I agree. Had a great time. It was enjoyable, and I apologize. And when I glanced at the chat room and saw that, I immediately went to YouTube and sent that out. I apologize. I really enjoyed that show. I really enjoyed that show. So because I did, I just want to that's a show I feel deserves a review. So I'm definitely going to give you that today. I'm going to give you said review. It's just a show I enjoy listening to. I have fun with that show every year, man. It's a good time. It's a good time. Sluggo said, congrats to your niece, sir. Thank you. JBJ said, congrats to your niece and RIP DT. Yes, sir. RIP DT. RIP DT and congrats to my niece. As you can see, my brother does a much better job. I mean, he drove down from Ohio for the graduation. I got in the realm of keeping in touch with family and visiting people, he's so much better than me. So much better than me. It's not even funny. I'm the ninja you call when you want to move some shit. And, you know, if you need a motherfucker to grill, if somebody's acting up and they need tightening up, I'm that cat. But he's much better than me. He's much better than me about keeping in touch with family. I don't remember what I said, but Sluggo said, slow down, T. Use your vowels.
A-E-I-O-U. Use your vowels.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it? What the fuck is wrong with you?
You're on that bullshit today. I swear.
JBJ said, that's a great achievement and a momentous occasion. You should have made yourself available for the graduation. Okay. Let me finish. Hector and Marcia. Hector and Marcio could have held it down while you attended. Oh my God. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
What the hell did you just say?
That's fair, sir. That's fair. And you know, listen, there was I full disclosure, I'll be honest, there was a little bit of I should have planned the week better. There was a little bit of that mixed in there. I could have and should have planned the week better. There's a little bit of that in there. What else? There was a little bit of the traffic and everything that, you know, is a graduation. The traffic, sitting through and all of that. So, you know, perhaps I thought to myself, let me, you know, do what I do during graduations. Let me do what I do during graduations, not missing them, but, you know, let me acknowledge that with that individual. And I felt that doing that would kind of give me a slide on not going. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I'd say that's pretty clever on your part. There was a little bit of dealing with the entire graduation thing and the trap. Don't get me wrong. And again, and if I'm being honest, I did have a lot of work issues to deal with. There were a lot of work issues to deal with. Things were happening. There was equipment issues and new things popping up. So for whatever reason, I did have issues to a degree. So the issues were real, but you know, push come to shove. Could I have just said fuck it, especially if I was a little more useful and or if I was better about how I use my time during the week, would I have been better off? Should I have inquired about the time of the graduation quicker? I definitely should have. But things happened the day before and the day of that prohibited me from leaving quick enough to do that. I mean, There were things going on when I left, but at that point I was a little more comfortable. But I had to, man. But you're right. There was a little bit of there was a little bit of the whole graduation thing. There was a little bit of the whole graduation thing, and traffic and all of that bullshit. So I'm not gonna front. There was a little bit of that in there, but you're right. You're right. And I just have to do a better job of figuring out where things are. I know I have that, sir. I don't know where the fuck it's at. But for that particular chat, JBJ said, that's a great achievement and a momentous occasion. You should have made yourself available for the graduation. Hector and Marcio could have held it down while you attended.
You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
That's what I'm saying about the genius of that.
You're robbing us, you son of a bitch.
I could have done better, sir. I could have done better. Sluggo, that's funny. I didn't think anybody caught that. Hey, you know what? That's why I love y'all. That's really good. I didn't think anybody caught that. That's really good. I didn't think anybody caught that, sir. That's clever. Sluggo said another not talked about aspect of being in America. If you're generally too busy or too damn fatigued to do more with family, you know what? I need to expound upon that, man. Great point. I need to expound upon that. Great point. And let me expound upon it now. Another not talked about aspect of being in America is, slow down. Another not talked about aspect of being in America is that you're generally too busy or too damn fatigued to do more with family. And that's a great point, sir. That's a great point. It's you want to, but sometimes when you have that time, you just want to chill. You just want to selfishly watch a TV series, sit back, do nothing. Because how often do you get to do nothing? And if you get to do nothing, you're going to find something to do because nobody just wants to sit around. Nobody wants to just sit around. But being able to sit around is a privilege. Generally speaking, you're busy enough in America with work and family that you don't have with work in your immediate family, or sometimes just with work and survival and dealing with your kids. You're busy enough to where those get-togethers aren't what they used to be, and ensuring and making sure you're around family isn't what it used to be. You're right, sir. You're absolutely right. And I agree with you saying 100%. That there's a lot. That has a slow down, a lot of stuttering. That has a lot to do with it. There's a lot of validity to that. And the other side of it is some of the times when I have opportunities, I simply choose to chill or do something else, or maybe not put that on the forefront and make it a priority. Because if something's a priority, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. So to me,
What the fuck is wrong with you?
if something's a priority, you're going to get it done. But as Sluggo said, another not talked about aspect of being in is you're generally too busy or too damn fatigued to do more with family. And you're right, but every other month, a minimum of every 3 months, you can easily do something. I'm going to make a concerted effort to do that. I told my sisters, I'm going to do, and it's easy to do. It's not even an expensive thing to do. Starting in June, I'm going to pick a day. If I know me, probably around Juneteenth, I'm going to start doing fish fries. And if you can make it, you can. If you can't, you can't. But it's easy as hell. I can make a side, a vegetable where people can, kind of offset eating fried fish. And you can have your traditional things. And I'm going to fry fish and make fries. I have potatoes, chop them up. Fries are easy. We can have a nice little gluttonous night and a gluttonous time. plenty of fish, but fries are gonna offset everything else. And if you want some vegetables, I'm gonna have something over there. You know what I'm saying? A salad or something where you can offset eating the fish. But it's not that difficult. Fish isn't that expensive. If I just had to do that myself, that's not a big deal. That's not even balling. I can go get a case of fish or two and fry some fish. Not a big deal. So I'm gonna attempt to do that. Same way my cousin did this barbecue. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna, hey, cuz, this month I'm gonna send it out early so everybody knows I'm gonna plan it. What do y'all got going around this time? Let's have a fish fry. I'm gonna have this. Okay, somebody do the little traditional sides. I'll take care of the fish. Got the propane set up. Got a nice size patio. Easy to do. So I'm gonna do that. So you're right. You're tired and you're fatigued, but my daughter's graduating. I'm good. I'm in a position. It's just I got some space. Even though I do what I do, I'm gainfully employed. I do all right. Especially with other revenue streams. I do all right. You can find, everybody has a side hustle, but with other revenue streams, along with my primary gig, budgeting and not being frivolous, I have time at this point in my life because my child's not busy all the time. She's independent. She's in college. She's good. So, I got a little time to do shit like that. So being that I do, I'm gonna make sure I do that. It was just a reminder of how cool it is to be around family and how I need to do better, how I have to really do better. And again, that's a better way to honor DT instead of sitting around sulking and shit. Sulking and shit. But Sluggo said, good ear, sir, good ear. This is when I was speaking about family being around cousins, so you can know each other. Sluggo said, cross-pollination.
That's a Negro that's out of his mind. That's a Negro that's out of his mind.
Man, listen, my cousin even said that. Cousins need to know each other. Y'all mess around and get together and have a kid or something. Then you find out you're related. It's too late now. Y'all done did something. At any rate, man, and she was funny. But it's true. It's true. You need to know each other. It can spread quickly. You know what I'm saying? I got two sisters. They both got kids. You got other cousins got kids. Y'all don't know each other. The shit can happen. So, you know what I'm saying? Just, you need to know each other just for general purpose. But that's another, reason as well. So I just brought up the cross-pollination.
That's a Negro that's out of his mind.
Good ear, sir. Good ear. Good ear. Sluggo saying R.I.P. DT. We got my man Jungle Brother for Zulu Cast on the train. What up, Jungle Brother? Thank you for coming aboard. Jungle Brother, hey, listen, I got a bone to pick with you. Now, granted, it's my fault. You let me know the show was coming on. But, man, send me an alert. I forget. I wanted to be live to listen to the JB Awards show so I could critique it live. I didn't hear it live, and I got to listen to the replay, and I know I'm going to hear shit I wish I had the ability to say something about live. JB had his annual award show. He let me know it was coming. I still forgot the time, but I didn't get an alert like when it came on unless I missed it. But I'm going to go back and listen to that. And as I said at the top of the show, he did put a clip in the Underground Railroad show page, and that's how I remembered I missed the show. And again, that was day pop past. My head was somewhere else. Another reason I missed it. So a couple of reasons for that. Secondly, as I said in the top of the show, Jungle Brother gave me, he told me that I won in that clip, I guess it was the last part of the show, I won the award for the annual show that he wants to get rid of. I'm paraphrasing. I'm sure he was more clever, but the annual show that needs to go, that something like that, is I won that award. And the show that needs to go is an annual show of religion.
God is good.
God.
Their God is wrong. Nigga, your God is ridiculous.
You're funny, sir. You're funny. I know what you're saying about me.
You're a devil. Where
that means? Didn't he did?
Yeah.
When hasn't he ever? Didn't he did? Did he not do it?
Woo! Jesus. Devil is not welcome here.
Sir, I respectfully, happily, proudly, and with much pride and distinction accept your nomination. And within the framework of accepting said nomination, I can guarantee you this. The one show that will always continue out of all my annual shows, honestly, all of them, I'm always going to do an annual draft show. I'm always going to do an annual show on Dr. King and Malcolm X. I'm always going to do an annual show on religion. I'm always going to do what? Those are the three main ones. What other annual show? I'm always going to do an annual bracket tournament. Those are cemented, sir. Those are cemented. I accept the award. I accept it. But I humbly deny your request. I will not discontinue it. You know why?
I'm God.
He's in me.
I'm God.
Throughout my spirit.
I'm God.
I manifest my destiny, sir.
Amen, preacher.
And again, I know what you're saying.
Sick. Help. Sick. Help.
Sluggo, great question. Sluggo said, were they pork or beef ribs, sir? Quite embarrassingly, and I know that's not a word, but I'm quite embarrassed to say that I haven't had a beef rib yet. I need to make some, but I want to go somewhere and try it before I make it. I haven't had one yet. But no, pork ribs. I did this for everybody else. I have no problem making my outstanding ribs. I just don't eat them anymore. And again, ABM, who I don't know if he's in here yet, you motherfucker. Where's the proper soundbite? It's weird because it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. But because of his influence and some of the things that I did from a dietary aspect, I have completely lost my taste for pork. I don't give a damn about pork even a little bit. I made 5 slabs of ribs that were quite enjoyable to everybody that had them. I know how to make them. I'm a bad motherfucker. I really am. Not only did I make 5 slabs, not only did I cut up every bone and line them up in an aesthetically pleasing manner in said aluminum foil pan. Not only did I do that, not only did I put all of them in there as I cut every bone and the residual meat that falls off, not only did I scoop that with my cutting knife and put it in there as well so nothing is wasted. Not only did I do all of these things, at no point did I accidentally and or have the desire to eat a piece of said pork. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. You know what ABM's doing right now? This shit ain't cool. I mean, it is. Like, I'm glad I don't eat pork anymore. I can feel the difference. I'm actually happy with the decision. And again, you can do anything in moderation and be okay. But I guess maybe if it was I don't know. At any rate, but it's a good thing. But for some reason, I still want to cuss him out.
Who raised you?
Like, it's a good thing, but for some reason, I want to be angry that his influence led me to not eat pork anymore. I kind of want to be mad about it, but I'm not. But I am, but I'm not. You get what I'm saying? Of course you don't, because I don't. But they were pork ribs, sir. Sluggo said any Juneteenth activities planned. I'm thinking about doing a fish fry around that time, which I spoke about. They usually have something here. I went last year. I'm probably going to go again because I want to holler at that black cigar distributor, and I want to get his information. And I'm going to get another triple. I'm going to get like 2 of those triple Maduro cigars he had. He had 3 Maduro cigars woven into each other. And I just chilled at the crib and burned that one over a process of a few days. You know what I'm saying? Nice size cigar. But I should have held that one until I was amongst company because, as he said, that's a conversation piece. And I smoked it by myself, just chilling at the crib. So, I didn't get his information, so I couldn't, go to his establishment and/or order anything. So I'm gonna go back and they had good music and everything. So I'm gonna go back and probably patronize some black vendors, listen to whatever music they got going, buy a couple drinks like I normally do. I'll probably do something at the amphitheater. But I plan on having a fish fry. I'm gonna have a fish fry and then invite folks over and shit. Be a good time to have a housewarming or whatever. So JBJ said, Ninja, did you backslide and get you a piece of that swine? JB, you are hysterical, sir. Hey, listen, hey, JB, because I have these because I had to get the clip set up, and because of the way the studio is, I moved some things around, and you and Sluggo, ironically, both of you are requesting everything. Are literally requesting everything that I took out. That's just hysterical. As I look, I'm like, you know what? Everything I fucking took out, y'all are requesting. That's just hysterical. You know what? But JB, I didn't. Again, I'm looking at no desire to. I was good. And that leads me back to something Baby Girl said, and I'm remembering this as I'm talking. Baby Girl asked me, as we're sitting out there on the patio, listening to Frankie Beverly and Maze, and her watching me sing terrible notes as I'm grilling, enjoying strawberries because they're really in season right now. For the last 2 months, the strawberries have been magnificent. So we're enjoying a bowl of strawberries, sitting around talking, having just organically having those moments that you remember later on in life. So we're sitting around doing that, and she said, Dad, I said, what's up, baby girl? Do you eat anything that you grill anymore besides wings? And when she said that, my first thought,
you're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
Which she damn near does. Then I thought,
Who raised you?
But I know the answer to that, me and her mother. But being perfectly honest, that was a great question. What do you eat besides the chicken wings that you grill? And she's right, because I'll eat a chicken leg in a pinch, but I don't really want it. I don't really want a chicken leg. I'll eat one, especially grilled. You can do that, but I don't want it. And I spoke about, I had so much grilled chicken growing up, I'm just not big on it. Wings are a separate deal. Wings are always cool. And she said besides wings, because she knows that I'm going to eat wings, obviously. So besides wings, what do you eat that you grill? And probably just speaking about what I'm doing in that moment. And as she said it, I'm like, that's a great question. And I thought about it. I said, shit, baby girl, nothing but the wings and the burgers, righteously. I mean, I can eat the chicken legs. I don't want them. I'm not eating the pork chop. Not eating the ribs. Don't really want chicken legs. So I said just the wings and a burger. I said, damn, I said, you're right. I said, I got it. That's when I get into briskets and all of that and other things, to replace the pork. Because before, all I really ate off the grill was pork, because I ate so much chicken growing up, I didn't want any chicken. The only exception, and I was reminded of this, talking to my cousin during the barbecue at her house, drunk chicken. Pop make a hell of a drunk chicken on the grill. And I remember he made one and I ate some and I said, damn. I said, and I explained to him how I'm not a grilled chicken person because we had so much growing up. But when I had that, I was like, okay. It was different. You know what I'm saying? I could taste the difference. And she was talking about how she didn't have one until Pop made it. And I laughed and I said, me too. I said, I made some since. And that's probably the only time I'll eat bird. So, if I want to grill some chicken one day along with something else, if I'm grilling, I might get a couple of birds, make a couple of drunk chickens, maybe in the recipe like seafood, some salmon, stuff like that. But Maybe I'll grill some drunk chickens, make some sides, which will I have to do that because if I have something besides chicken, I'm going to eat the other thing. So if I do some drunk chickens, I got to just do that and not grill nothing else. Because if I make something else, I'm not going to eat the drunk chicken. So I need to do that when I got company, or if it's just me, I need to do it and only that, so I don't let it go, let it sit. But again, mind wandering. But thanks for coming aboard, Jungle Brother. You kind of prompted this show. I was going to do it anyway. But when I saw that, I said, I'm definitely doing this today. Definitely doing this today. Wait a minute. JBJ said, Ninja, did you backslide and get you a piece of that swine?
It's a setup. It's a fucking setup. It's a setup. It's a fucking setup.
Shreyas 2077. Allah Akbar. Boom. Interesting way to think, I think. JBJ says 72 degrees. Oh boy, you stupid. Hey, listen, and that's again, technology's not all bad. Technology's not all bad. Technology's not all bad. Look, technology's not all bad. I've had that same internal thermometer for a while, but until recently, I use it for brisket. Well, okay, poor man's brisket. I haven't made a brisket yet. So I've done several poor man's briskets, and I feel pretty confident now. So I'm probably gonna make a brisket. That'll be my next thing. But I use it for brisket, steak, and burgers, mainly. Everything else, I mean, I can eyeball burgers, honestly, but you got technology, why not use the shit? But 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius is the ideal internal temperature for a well done burger. And I don't, it's a burger. It's a burger. I don't I can't do it like when some places, if you actually ask them, they'll actually ask you, how do you want your burger done? And I don't understand that. I want it done. It's a burger. This isn't a steak. I know I've gotten to the point where I can do a medium well steak, and I know Sluggo's disappointed in me, but I order my steak medium well, not Sluggo. I know. But I order my steak medium well now. But burgers? No. There cannot be anything slightly pink in a fucking burger. It's a burger. But they will actually ask you that as if that's a legitimate question. Like, that's not a legitimate question. It's a burger. I want it done. That's how I want it. What do you mean, how do I want it? Cooked all the way through. That's how I want it. It's a damn burger. What kind of question is that? But again, for whatever reason, obviously there are some people that eat things differently, but I don't understand that. But that's the shit I never got when they used to ask me how I want my burger. I want it done. What are you talking about? I want it done. It's a burger. How do I want it done? I want it done, cooked. It's a burger. What the hell's going on around here? Weird to me. But, sir. But, no, JB, but sorry, I went on that rant. The internet, man. The internet's great. Internet's great. So since I have that internal thermometer, I might as well use this damn thing. Yeah, but that's the internal temperature for a well done burger. And after using that internal temperature several times, I have to confirm that that is true.
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind.
But that's when I'll take advantage of the internet, sir. That is when I'll take advantage of the internet. And this is the Underground Railroad Show. This is crazy. Really? Okay. That is wow. Well, okay, excuse me. I'm just noticing something that is crazy that y'all did that. I'm just noticing one of these changes that they made in the wow, that is absolutely crazy.
You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
That is crazy. Sorry, man. There's a wow, that is the dumbest thing ever. That is super stupid. Forgive me, I'm tripping on something I just noticed. I tried to give them credit earlier. I felt they had an update. You know how you get an update and the update's dumb? And you're like, why did you do that? This is a dumb update. It was better before. At first, I thought they made an update, and I was like, you know what? They actually did an update. You know, that makes sense. And I apologize. No, they didn't. That was dumb. Sorry for that, but that was super stupid. JB Jungle Brother said, congratulations to your niece and RIP DT. Thank you, sir. JBJ said, 72 degrees Celsius.
Who told you that?
I don't know how to do none of that shit.
Yeah, you do, sir. Yeah, you do.
Who told you that?
I don't know how to do none of that shit.
Initially, Google told me, and after I tested the theory, Google was correct. So I would eyeball it, and in my mind, I would say, in my eyes, it's done. Let me check. And it coincided with my eyeballing. So what I would do is I'd do it early, because you want to take it out when it's good and juicy, but it's done. So I would eyeball it, and in my mind, I'm like, this is when I would take it off. Let's see what the temperature is. And 90% of the time, it was right around 72 degrees or more. And so it's accurate, sir. 160 Fahrenheit, 72 Celsius. Internal temperature for a well-done burger. But again, you got to pat up a thick burger, or you're just going to break that little ass sausage patty that you patted together apart on the grill. Most people pat something together that turns into a damn sausage patty by the time you get done cooking it. Don't even take up all the fucking hamburger bun. But yeah, sir. That's why.
Who told you that?
Google.
I don't know how to do none of that shit.
JBJ said it's pronounced Maurice. Oh, my bad. It's pronounced Mauricio. Hold on with me. I should go back and look at this just to see if I did it wrong. I wasn't looking. You know what? You're right. Hector and Mauricio. You typed that plain as day. I fucked up. My bad. My bad. It's pronounced Mauricio. But in Espanol, it's spelled Mauricio. In Espanol. Oh, hey man, listen, that's another one of those things where I was talking about you're in the middle of the show, you're reading the chat, and in the moment, for whatever reason, you just don't see the shit in the moment. So that's a matter of me needing to slow down, not move so fast. So to me,
A-E-I-O-U. Use your vowels.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You're on that bullshit today. I swear.
And you know what? I appreciate that because, to be honest, that comes from moving too fast. That comes from moving too fast. So you have to slow down sometime just to make sure that you don't miss little shit like that. That happens sometimes. So I'm glad that's a reminder that when I'm reading that, slow down. I looked at that word and glossed over it, and I know better because out as if it didn't matter. And if I would have took 1.5 more seconds just to look at it, it was clear and obvious that said Mauricio. It's pronounced Mauricio, but in Espanol, it's spelled Mauricio.
Brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant. Brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant.
My bad, but keep me on my toes.
Brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant.
Jungle Brother said, I made a mistake and hit the live button before I could send a text message with the link. Won't make that mistake again. Sluggo also won the biggest contributor award. Nice. JBJ says, so you don't even have a taste? So you didn't even have a taste of the swine? Wait a minute. So for whatever reason you don't believe me, sir, I didn't. I did not have a taste of the swine, sir. I did not have one taste of the swine. I did not. I did not eat any swine. It might be hard to believe, but it's true. I didn't eat any swine, sir. Didn't even have a desire to eat any swine. But no swine for me. Yeah, I mean, again, that's why, I wasn't really kidding when I said I kind of want to, I guess it's a good thing. It's probably a good thing that I, don't have a taste for swine. That's a good thing. But it's a good thing. But for some reason, I still want to cuss them out. And it's probably because of what you're saying. I made 5 slabs of ribs, and I didn't even accidentally just eat that little piece of pork that fell off to the side. No, I scraped it all over the knife, put it right in the pan, wrapped it up, and haven't thought about it. I'm still a little, because the first thing that got eaten was the burgers. I didn't get a burger. I'm still annoyed by that. I really wanted a hamburger. Those are gone. But, it's, again, I know how those things go. It was a right amount of food for the people, but there were just certain, really the only item was the burger. Everything else, there was plenty. But the burgers, they went like that. And it's probably because people have gotten a little lazy. And how many people really take the time to pat up burgers anymore? Most of y'all go buy the Angus burgers if you're being nice. Sometimes you buy the one even lower than that. Some of you buy the, what's the shit called? Impossible Burger. Try the Impossible Burger.
You're a devil. Bonnie, well, that means didn't he did? Yeah, when hasn't he ever? Didn't he did? Did he not do it?
The Impossible Burger.
The devil is not welcome here.
At any rate, but I guess for that reason, maybe burgers aren't a thing. Like, people always have hot dogs, but at any rate, the burgers went so damn fast. So I'm bothered that I didn't get a burger. I don't care at all that I didn't have one piece of swine. I don't care at all. Dude, and on top of that, I made some beautiful pork chops. They were nice and thick, like, saying like a little steak. You know what I'm saying? On the grill, that's what you want. Cook them good, And again, there's another opportunity to use the internal thermometer. And that's another thing. I've been at a restaurant where they've asked, how do you want your pork chop? Excuse me? Excuse me?
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Hell no.
I want it done. It's pork. Everything better be white. There better not be any pink in some pork. What do you mean how I want it done? I want it done in swine. Are you trying to kill me? I digress. But it's the same. It's essentially the same temperature. 71 Celsius, 161 Fahrenheit for a well-done pork chop. So, I mean, again, the internal thermometer is cool. But the only thing that it showed me is that I already knew when to take the motherfucker off anyway. If you grill long enough, you already know that shit. But I didn't even want that. Like, I would have reached for that maybe quicker than the bones back in the day. A grilled pork chop? Grilled pork chops are underrated. Like, I don't act like I don't remember that they're good. I don't tell people, oh my God, you're eating pork. I don't do that. It's just I've been manipulated by the pescatarian Nazi. And when I took a break from it, almost a year-long break, right at a year, maybe a little short, it completely changed my taste buds and my diet. Completely. And then I did that 10-day cleanse, and that changed my shit even more. So these things can have a lifelong impact, and probably more so because I'm at this point in my life too. But when I tried to go back to it, it made me sick, so I was done. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I didn't, sir. Didn't touch it. Believe it or not, I didn't touch it. Believe it or not, sir, I did not touch it. JBJ says, so you didn't even have a taste of the swine. And look, when he said this, a lot of question marks and exclamation points.
You liar! You lying bitch. This motherfucker's lying. You lying motherfucker, stop. You liar! You lying bitch. This motherfucker's lying. You lying motherfucker, stop.
No, sir, I didn't. Cut up rib bones, flipped perfectly grilled pork chops, did not touch them, and on top of that, didn't have the desire to. Facts.
You liar! You lying bitch. This motherfucker's lying. You lying motherfucker, stop.
We have the aforementioned Reverend Raider for life on the train. What's going on, sir? Thank you for coming aboard. This is slow down, T. This is the 10th annual Show on Religion review, sir. I've been listening to the show, enjoying it. And again, I got, a little bit to add to the setup and everything. We're going to jump right into it. The timing's working out well. This should work out just fine. Oh, okay. Raider for Life said, what is a poor man's brisket? A poor man's brisket, sir. And the reason why I did it is because I didn't want to attack a real brisket, which is expensive. I didn't want to attack a real brisket until I had the technique down. But a poor man's brisket is a chuck roast, sir. Beef chuck roast. So I've done several beef chuck roasts, cooked them like a brisket just to get the technique down and the flavor profile that I desire on my brisket, just to get it down. And I'll say this, with the brisket and even with a steak and, even with fish, less is more. Less is more. In a lot of cases, the old-fashioned salt and pepper combination is really all you need. Maybe Chicago steak seasoning, I'm partial to that, but a poor man's brisket is a chuck roast, sir. That's what a poor man's brisket is. So I've done several chuck roasts and made it like a brisket. Came out very well. Came out very well. Where am I at there? But thank you for coming aboard, Reverend Raider. Good show for you to be in. But a poor man's brisket is a beef chuck roast. JBJ says, Sluggo, medium well is not too bad at one of those fancy steakhouses. It's not, man. It's, look, I get it. I get, y'all looking at me funny because I never thought I would ever do that. I never thought I would do that either. And don't get me wrong, if it's a little too reddish, and look, let me give a full disclaimer as to why I do that. I get it medium well because properly made medium well is good. Medium well is basically almost the way I'll make my well done. Now, there might be a little thin line of very light pink, but if you let it sit, that'll cook through as well. If for whatever reason I have a piece of it that needs a lot more time or needs more time, that works out because if I'm at a steakhouse, I'm probably going to get an appetizer, maybe some shrimp or a crab cake, something like that. I'm not going to eat the entire steak. So at medium well, I can warm that up better, however I choose to do it. With a steak, I don't go to the air fryer because that'll just cook it and dry it out. So with that, I will use a microwave unless I throw it in the skillet right quick, which I don't like to do most of the time. But a medium well steak is still good if I eat it later that evening or tomorrow morning. And if made properly, I can sit there and crush it at the table. I will admit every now and again you might get one where you should have cooked that a little bit more, but I'm not going to finish the steak in all likelihood because the sides and the appetizer, I'm full already. Again, another product of the pescatarian Nazi and these things that I did that, just changed the way I can eat. I was already eating less. You just do that when you get older. But after doing that, I really, I still, the way I used to put food away, that cat is gone. Like when cats used to watch me eat, they like, man, something wrong with you. Like I can't put it away like I used to. Which I don't want to, but I've truly gotten to the point where I'm not going to eat. I'll probably never eat to the point where you get that uncomfortable feeling like, man, I shouldn't have done that. I'll probably never do that again. Every now and again, you'll double back and be like, I shouldn't have done. I probably don't have to worry about ever making that mistake again. Hate that feeling. So at any rate, where was I at? Oh, but thanks for coming aboard, Reverend Raider. There are several things and again, there was a lot in that show. And I may even do this again because this is a very, 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 very small sample of what we talked about. But I think it goes over some good things, shows the conversation, shows the chat room's participation, shows a little humor, shows, insight from both individuals and compromise and or at least respect for the other individual's opinion. So I think that this very short, this small sample and short synopsis is it's a nice way to kind of, see the show and be like, oh, okay, this is what that show was about. I think I might want to check that out. I think it's that. I think it's that. And there are some things that after the fact, as I'm listening to it, because for whatever reason, when you have a guest, sometimes when you have a guest, sometimes I'll miss something that they say over the phone, whether it's a glitch in the system or whatever it may be. Sometimes there's a glitch to where you miss something that the guest says. And I had a lot of that when I listened to the replay. There were several things that were said that I didn't hear in real time, either because we said it at the same time or, whatever the reason may be. We were talking at the same time, you just didn't hear it. There were several of those situations as well. So there were just several things I was like, we can elaborate or we can, speak about some of these things. And there's some more meat on the bone, you know what I'm saying? So that's mainly what it's about. And again, the other thing is that there's not going to be a Ninjaversary. So this is kind of my ode to the Ninjaversary. This is kind of my ode to the Ninjaversary. Because this is as close as I'm ever going to get to that again. Once again, juice not being worth the squeeze. So I doubt I get back to that. But, because of that, because of that particular show, and the work that went into trying to get that together, it makes like doing little short clips and whatnot, it makes that kind of easy because it's a welcome change to having to put together several shows and, you know, figure out who gets what and all of that. So in that regard, it's obviously it's easier, but it's because of having or doing that, it just makes it so much easier to do some shit like this. That would probably be the main takeaway. JBJ saying Sluggo medium well is not too bad at one of those fancy steakhouses. Ninjas are flip-flopping and shit. I did a little bit on that. Sluggo said medium well. Oh, hell no. What are the differences in taste, sir? Some say the less it's cooked, the more flavor that it has. In that case, catch it and eat it while it's alive, sir. Hey, listen. A nice medium well is a very thin pink line that if you let sit, will cook all the way through. And mainly taste-wise, man, I don't believe in dry, you know, I don't put, let me just stay focused. It's a good taste. It's mainly about, you know, the texture, it's about the taste and the chew. Because, and maybe I have to order medium well because so many people don't know how to do well done. I can cook it, probably when I grill steaks, I cook them medium well, but by the time you cut them, there's nothing pink in there. Like I can do that at home in the grill, so I don't know why it's so hard for these restaurants. But yes, I have made my way to a medium well. We got my man 334 Bama on the train. What's going on, sir? Thank you for coming aboard, and I hope you're enjoying the ride thus far. Sluggo said, Jungle, I'll catch the replay, sir. Jungle said, thanks, Sluggo. I gave you a few flowers. JBJ said, I patted up my burgers, added some onions, and let it sit in the marinade overnight. Again, JBJ talking about patting up his own burgers. It's a lost art because, well, let's just be frank. A lot of people are lazy and they rather get and I know this chat room might be the exception because I brought that up before and y'all were like, what the fuck are you talking about? Most people go get some type of frozen patty burger. Now, if you're going to do that, at least get the Angus burger, but it's not the same as a patted up burger. It's just not the same. It's just not the same. A patted up burger has a completely different taste to it. So I've always been, it's my belief that if I'm going to do a burger, I'd rather just pat it up. Really and truly, every time I do burgers, that's the first thing I go for because I don't eat burgers a lot anymore. I don't want the shit from these fast food places. And unless I'm somewhere where I'm really going to get a good burger, I'm not going to order one. That's probably why every time I do grill a burger, that's probably the first thing I reach for. So, okay, maybe I understand why everybody snatched the burgers up that day. Internally, I was upset. Internally, I was upset. I was like, motherfucker, I really wanted a burger. But, you know, I live with it. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Thank you for coming aboard and rolling with me. Truly appreciate it. We're just about at the bottom of the chat, and we're about to get started with the annual Show on Religion review. And let me start there with a couple of things that brought me to that. And again, when I describe these things, some may look at these as signs, but it was good timing. If nothing else, I will say excellent timing. Excellent timing. Interesting. No wonder. Okay. But if nothing else, I will say excellent timing. Excellent timing. Apologize for that. But great timing. Great timing. I will say that if nothing else. So and no, there are actually a few more chats in here. Underestimated y'all's chat, my bad. So actually, I'm slipping on some of y'all's chat. So let me go back and read the chat that I have missed. Oh, okay. Okay. And I apologize for that. And let's see here. That is wild. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, just a matter of okay. Interesting. Outside the side food shit is all. But in Ohio, sir, I had a interesting. It's okay. Let me just keep going. But JBJ said I patted up my own burgers, added some chopped onions, and let it marinate overnight.
Oh, sorry, that's not right. Oh, sorry, that's not right.
Okay, listen, I'm sorry to hit you with that, but the onions, sir, the onions. I appreciate you patting up and I know they were delicious. I know they were delicious. But the onions, you lost me.
Oh, sorry, that's not right.
I know what you asked for, but I can't give you the soundbite. You know how I feel about onions.
Oh, sorry, that's not right.
Apology, that's personal. He knows better. He knows better. This man knows better. How dare you? Let us continue. Sluggo said if then there's that, sir. Then there's that. Who was it? In Ohio, sir. In Ohio. They gave me so many no, I'm sorry. They weren't Impossible Burgers. They were turkey burgers. They were turkey burgers. But I have been given Impossible Burgers to to throw on the grill. And my reaction.
Sick! Help! Sick! Help!
For my taste buds. Sluggo said, if anyone ever said that Beyond Meat burgers, if anyone ever said, slow down, T. If anyone ever said that Beyond Meat burgers are delicious, I'll reply.
Who told you that? Who told you that? Who told you that?
Jungle Brother said, can't play with pork chop levels. Well done or die, as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? You're right. Well done or dying. I couldn't believe they said that. How do you want it done? Excuse me? I want it done. What are you talking about? It's pork.
Confused, bewildered, lethargic.
It's pork.
Hang in there, whites.
How do I want it done?
That's a lie. That's a goddamn lie.
How do I want it done? I want it done. Can't play with pork chop levels. Well done or die, as far as I'm concerned.
Who raised you? Who raised you?
JBJ said, damn you, Maurice, for corrupting my boy Ninja. Damn you, Maurice, for corrupting my boy. Ninja said, you were right. I like it. I'm watching you. Oh, that's a good one, sir. That's a good one. That's a good one. So you good one, sir. Oh man. Sir.
Brilliance is the best brilliance is brilliance born not from someone ignorant.
That was brilliant. Oh my God, boy, you stupid. Hey, sir, he did it, man. He did it. Sluggo said it's typically hard to go wrong with a good burger, unless it's one of those frozen patties that's lightly seasoned. That's so disrespectful, in my humble opinion. I agree. I agree. It's very disrespectful. Yeah, I agree, sir. You know, you're saying it's disrespectful in your humble opinion. No, you're right. It's disrespectful. It's not your opinion. It is. If you're gonna do burgers, and just sometimes they forget that you have to. You just have to make them big enough. If not, there's no way to. If you don't make them big enough, you're not going to be able to keep them. You're not going to be able to have a nice juicy burger like you want. You're not going to be able to get it. That was the only thing I did. That's one thing I did have to learn. My boy did that one time, and he patted him up real big and told me why. And when we had him, I was like, okay, never make that mistake again. I'm like, that makes more sense. It's going to be harder to get, a really small burger the way you want it. So once I had those, we made some nice sized burgers, grilled them up. They were done all the way through, but good and juicy still. You know what I'm saying? You could season them and it wasn't overpowering because you had a nice sized burger. So, that's the way to go. But that shit, it gets expensive because, as y'all know, ground beef is not fucking cheap. That's one of the more expensive things you can buy now. It's not cheap. It's really not. So, it's interesting. And again, my apologies for any of the things that aren't available that should be. Believe it or not, at all times, working on that diligently. All right, man, let's get ready to get to it. Believe we're about at the bottom of the chat. Sluggo said, JBJ said, Sluggo, only the crackers say that about their steaks. Oh, sorry. That's not right. You're right.
Oh, sorry. That's not right. Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Only the clear people usually say that about their steak.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
I didn't really notice. My well done steaks have plenty of flavor. It was just at a restaurant, well done if you're at a good, because I don't order steaks a lot, and Longhorn's, generally speaking, doesn't mess up my steak. That's generally the only place I'll go for real. Unless it's a high-level steakhouse, then I'll try their steak. If I go to Char, place called Char. If I go to Char, I can get a steak from Char. Any high-level place, Ruth Chris, shit like that. I'm there. I'm going to get a steak, as I should.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
But, yes, sir, I agree.
Hell no.
All that shit about flavor. Yeah. Jungle Brother said, listening to that ninja talk about cooking meat is like listening to Doc on Back to the Future talk about quantum physics and the flex capacitor. You're funny, sir. Hey, man, don't sleep on the Back to the Future series. Don't sleep on that.
You hear you? I hear you.
Don't sleep on the Back to the Future series. I was a big fan at the time. Jungle Brother said, listening to that ninja talk about cooking meat is like listening to Doc on Back to the Future talk about quantum physics and the flex capacitor. 3,200 gigawatts. 3,200 gigawatts.
Hey, who raised you?
Doc, what the hell is a gigawatt? JBJ said, chopped up onions, add good flavor, sir. Oh man.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Hey, listen, I agree. I agree, sir. That's why I use onion powder. I agree. I completely agree, sir. That's why I use onion powder. So I agree with you, sir. But again, I use onion powder, not onions. So I agree with you, sir. I agree with you, but I just do it with onion powder. And I know that seems hypocritical. I don't like onions, but I'll do onion powder. You know, I know you want to say, you know, that makes you want to say, something is in there is off, but it's not. It's not. JBJ saying, chopped up onions add that good flavor, sir.
You want beef with soda, bitches? You want beef with soda, bitches?
If I bite into a burger and taste the onion, you've ruined my dining experience, sir. Onion powder, I'm cool with. Onion powder, I'm cool with.
You want beef with soda, bitches? You want beef with soda, bitches?
I just like that sound.
You want beef with soda, bitches?
Hey, listen, sir, I hear you talking. And again, I'll admit, again, like, as I just said, I'll use onion powder. So I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that I don't like onions themselves. That's all. That's all I'm saying. 1 second, libations. JBJ said, so let me guess. You eat your burger? You ain't shit. JBJ says, so let me guess. You eat your burger plain.
Come on, man. That's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
How is eating a plain burger a brittle spirit?
Come on, man. That's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit. Come on, man. That's a brittle spirit. That is a brittle ass spirit.
Where am I at here? There you are, sir. God dang it. I've been wondering where this ninja is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Chef Mac Feezy on the train. Thank you for coming aboard, sir. I've been wondering where the hell you at, man. Glad to see everything cool. I don't know where the hell you been, man. I see JBJ acting stupid in the chat. Sluggo said, I love real onions on burgers and hot dogs. That's probably the only time I eat onions. That's interesting, man. Y'all know my thoughts. I will say, let me say this. I'll adjust my thoughts. Let me say this. I used to say onions could disappear off the face of the earth and I would be good. I have no use for them. I'll amend that. I will amend that and say you can keep like I said, when I was younger, my mom put onions on things and bake them in the oven. I just slide the onions off and eat the food. I wasn't mad at that. So obviously I'm not mad at the flavor. I hate biting into onions. So now I'll let me update that statement. You can keep onions so you can make onion powder with them and so people can use them. And if you want to put them on top, nice and big, not chopped up, where I can just slide that big massive mess off and use the flavor, I'm good with that. But you have to keep onions because at this point, I use a lot of onion powder. So you got to keep onions at this point. I do not have a brittle spirit because I don't like onions. I don't even understand how that works. Chef Mac Feezy on the train, man. Thank you for coming aboard, sir. JBJ said, Feezy, you hear this, ninja? I mean, what did I say? What? I don't understand what I said. I don't know what I said that could garner any I didn't say anything. I just don't. I mean, onions. I mean, y'all. This, you know, I think onions suck. Never understood them. Just never been a fan. Just never been a fan. They just ruin things. Like, there's nothing worse than a piece. Like, okay, when I say onion flavor, I'm talking about, okay, steak, you know, pork chops, burgers, if you want the flavor in it. But I need no parts of onion flavor on a pizza. I need no parts of onion flavor. Okay, in your chili, your stews, and all of that. I use onion powder now. I'll admit that. But it's not the same as using the onion. It's just not. It's not the same. It's not the same. And again, I apologize. JBJ said, Feezy, you hear this, ninja? Help! Help me! And again, sir, I will do my best to retrieve. Some of these things are in areas where they're in the folders, and for whatever reason, what I put them in doesn't coincide with where I'm looking. And some of these things, for whatever reason, didn't transfer when I was moving files over. Feezy coming in saying, say my name and I'll appear. I asked about Mac Feezy the last couple of shows. Sluggo said, Mac Feezy finally in the building. Welcome, sir. Mac Feezy said, JVJ, stop before I wake these kids. Sluggo said, now we got to get Clay over here. You're right. Where the hell is Clay? We have the okay, let me use social media to get to Clay. Mac Feezy said, I've been over on, I have no idea how to pronounce that, perfecting my Mandarin. That's why. That's probably a damn Chinese word. Okay, Mac Feezy said, I've been over on, I have no idea how to pronounce that. The last part is Hongshu. I have no idea how to pronounce that. But obviously, this is a Chinese application or platform. Perfecting my Mandarin. He didn't say learning Mandarin. He said perfecting it. Wait a minute. He didn't say learning Mandarin. He said perfecting it. Mac Feezy.
You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
We have to give a bomb drop to Mac Feezy for learning fucking Mandarin. Not easy. Not easy.
Who raised you?
Impressive, sir. Impressive. Mandarin, not easy to pick up. Not easy. JBJ saying, Feezy been MIA. Welcome back, sir. Matt Feezy coming in saying MSNBC Jungle. Jungle said, Fox News Feezy was probably listening to the replay of one of the orange dudes' unwoke rallies. JBJ said, Sluggo, grilled onions go well on a steak and cheese or chicken cheesesteak sandwich. Or a cheese or chicken cheesesteak sandwich as well. Oh my God, are you?
What? Nigga, please.
Nigga, if you put onions on my cheesesteak.
What? Nigga, please.
If you put onions on my cheesesteak.
What? Nigga, please.
That's not okay. That's not cool. That's not acceptable. I'm not going to smile after you do that. We're going to have a problem. We're going to have a conflict. We're going to have a situation. Sluggo, grilled onions go well on a steak and cheese or chicken cheesesteak sandwich as well.
Jesus. Woo, Jesus. Woo, Jesus.
I do not agree. McFeezy says sauteed mushrooms and onions on a burger with a slice of pepper jack cheese. Pepper jack cheese. And now, hey, listen, man. For me, I've ABM, boy, you done fucked up so much of my diet. I still like cheese. I gotta have it with my tacos, taco salad. I don't eat it on my grilled chicken biscuit anymore or my grilled chicken sandwich. I don't eat it on that anymore. But this is what I discovered. Because, like, if I do a burger, and I didn't answer your question, JBJ. Yes, I eat my burger plain. The only thing I put on my burger is cheese and lettuce. And sometimes I don't want cheese. What I've discovered is I just need to get a slice of Velveeta and deal with that, and that's that. I'm not a fan of cheddar. And I'm not a fan of, like, pepper jack, as McFeezy just said. He said sauteed mushrooms and onions on a burger with a slice of pepper jack cheese. That's just too much for me. But give me a little piece of Velveeta on a burger, I'm good. You know, give me my 4-cheese Mexican on my taco salad, I'm good. Give me my 4-cheese Mexican in my quesadillas, I'm good. Or give me a mix of all white cheeses, which I prefer. You know, my provolone, mozzarella, Gouda, you know, all of that. Give me that mix, and I'm good with that. But I'm absolutely not a fan of cheddar. I just never been a fan of cheddar. Snuggle said, the old lady just agreed with JB on cutting the onions up nice and fine. You won't even notice them. Listen, man, this is the thing. Okay. Cut the onions up nice and fine. You won't even notice them.
You've been had. You've been took. You've been hoodwinked. Bamboozled. Led astray. Run amok. That's a lie. That's a goddamn lie.
Now listen, in chili and soups, if you do that properly, sure. In chili and soups. In sandwiches, no. In a sandwich, no. In a burger, hell no. It doesn't matter how fine you chop them up. I taste them because I'm not a fan. Again, for me, I use onion powder. Don't ask me why I'm good with onion powder, because I notice a difference in the way a couple of things tasted when I use onion powder along with the mix. Chicken thighs in particular, just searing them in the skillet, it gave a nice flavor to those. So I'll admit onion powder works for me. So in recipes now, I'll just replace the onion with onion powder, but I'm not putting the onion in anything. Now, I will admit in soups, gumbo, things of this nature, chopped up really fine and cooked to death, okay. But in sandwiches, hell no. Greens and green beans, I don't like it. You can cook them down enough to where I don't taste it, but I just don't need it personally. But I get it. I get it. And he said cutting them up fine and you don't notice them. I didn't see that exactly, but I get it. I know people do that, and some people like the Lipton onion mix. And I mean, anytime if I walk by a pack of Lipton onion soup mix in the grocery store, I physically stick a bird at it because of childhood trauma and fucking up otherwise very good meals by putting that bullshit in. I remember going to barbecues and they put that in it. I was so mad. Now I can't eat a burger because you want to put in a packet of bullshit. Thanks a lot. You just fucked up grilled burgers. I'm sorry. Y'all bringing up trauma. And I know that there seems to be hypocrisy with me using onion powder but hating onions. But somehow it works. Somehow. McFeezy said, thank Miss Mocha Bella for letting me know you're on Twitch. Well, damn. Okay, well, thank you, Mocha. Man, I put this out on all the same platforms we had before. How was it that you were missing it? You must have been coming to the show off of the Spreaker alerts then. Because I still put out all the alerts on the same platforms that we had before. So it's a matter of some people just not knowing. Ain't that some shit? Let me reach out to Clay then. JBJ said Clay somewhere raising that toddler and he is struggling. You know what? You're probably right. He is raising a toddler right about now. And right about now, his, if I remember correctly, daughter should be at a curious age and a moving and stop and don't do that age. I believe he labeled her a COVID baby. So, yeah, she should be at that age where you better keep eyes on her. As JBJ said, a great theory. Clay somewhere raising that toddler, and he is
struggling. He's struggling. He's struggling. He's struggling.
He's somewhere telling his daughter,
Hey, slow down. Watch your speed.
You know what? Y'all are funny. Y'all are funny. JBJ said, Sluggo, tell Lady P.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
And you see how I keep changing it?
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Hey, man, we're not going to co-sign onion talk. JBJ said, my son does not like onions, but when I chop them up and add them to the patted burgers, he doesn't even notice them. Okay, hey, listen, sir. If that's the case and you chop them up real fine and put them in there to add flavor, I get it. Personally, I just use onion powder. That's all. Now, I'll be honest with you. When I do my burgers are very simple. Honestly, my burgers are just a little bit of slap your mama. And for me, I put on Chicago Steakhouse seasoning. The steak seasoning, I put steak seasoning on my burger. So that's the way I season mine. A little bit of slap your mama, which I could amend that and, do a little onion powder on top of that. I could see that. I don't do it now, but I can see doing that. But honestly, right now, less is more. When I said that earlier, less is more. Like with fish, honestly, a little salt and pepper combination is really all you need, especially if you're going to use flavored seasoning. You don't need much. You shouldn't be salty. But with burgers, for me, less is more. I don't really like to marinate my burgers. And now I get you can use Dale. Now, unless it's Dale's. Dale's is probably the only thing I would put on a burger. Maybe Worcestershire, but Dale's is really a burger thing. But I haven't used it in years because it's just beyond years, decades, multiple. But back in the day, I used to do some Dale's on the grill, because that, Dale's works. So that's the only thing that's probably the only thing I'd be good with marinating my burger in is some Dale's. And I will say that if the burger's just about done and you want to put sauce on it and sear the sauce into the burger, that's not the worst thing in the world. I don't do it, but that's not the worst thing. But I'm not a big marinade person on my burger outside of those things I just talked about. Dale's, I can see maybe some sauce, but there's some marinades that don't work for me, but you probably would use one that I like. But I'm less is more for me with burgers. With me, with a burger, either a little bit of salt and pepper on the seasoning along with Chicago steak seasoning or a little bit of slap your mama and Chicago steak seasoning. That's it. My burgers are good and simple. And they always hit. They're always a hit. Always a hit. JBJ said onions and peppers on a steak and cheese. Onions and peppers on a steak and cheese. Hey, listen. I get no onions and extra peppers on my Philly steak. I get no onions, extra peppers on my Philly steak. I agree on the peppers. And another thing, proprietors of Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. When I say I don't want onions, that doesn't mean I don't want peppers. That's why I told you extra peppers. That means I want a ridiculous amount of peppers on my Philly cheesesteak.
Jesus.
JBJ said, onions and peppers on a steak and cheese. Onions and peppers on a steak and cheese.
That's why I know there's a God.
I'm not a big sandwich person, but Philly steak and cheese is one that I'm not a sandwich person, but that's a sandwich I'll get. And I only do it rarely because sandwiches are so gluttonous. I hate to do it because, again, the vegan Nazi is completely thrown off my damn diet. But, at any rate, JBJ said grilled, that is. JBJ said Ninja said if it's steak and cheese or burger have onions. That's true. JBJ said Ninja said if it's steak and cheese and burger have onions on it, he would have.
I would have bodies upon bodies upon bodies under me. I would have bodies upon bodies upon bodies under me. I would have bodies upon bodies upon bodies under me.
I really would. I really would. Man, just imagine going to your favorite cheesesteak place. You get your cheesesteak, you go have a seat. You got a nice thing of those good fries they serve with the cheesesteak. You got whatever drink it is or beverage. If you're at a place where you can get a nice cold beer or something like that, you know, perhaps something with a little stronger kick. If you're at a even better. And you sit down and get ready to enjoy said cheesesteak. And you look down into it. And they have fucked your cheesesteak up by adding small, half-cooked onions scattered throughout, completely ruining your fucking cheesesteak. It's almost worthy of tears, sir. JBJ said, Ninja.
$5 ass down before I make change. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
McFeezy said, it's pronounced Shuangshu. 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 No, Shuao Hongshu. Shuao Hongshu. I would have, okay, Hongshu I can see. The first part means Shuao. So Xiao means Shuao. Shuao. Shuao Hongshu. See how racist that was? I didn't have to take on a stereotypical accent that I believe to maybe be Mandarin. That was so fucked up. I apologize. That was so wrong. McFeezy said Ninja with his fancy Huntsville cheese palette. I'm a provolone guy. I love provolone on my stuffed peppers, but I'm just, my cheese, it's lessening and lessening. As I said, really, dairy, the only thing butter and cheese are the only things I need from dairy. Butter to cook sometimes, maybe on a baked potato, and cheese on a burger. Maybe I'll get it on a grilled chicken sandwich again, but right now I'm enjoying the grilled chicken sandwich without it. And I'm just, even with pizza, I'll never order extra cheese on a pizza ever again. And that was always my thing. I don't want that anymore. So, just, getting older and things changing. It is what it is. Sluggo said preferring onion powder over real onions is like preferring an Impossible Burger over a real burger. All I have to say to that.
Fuck you, and fuck you. Who's next? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Hell no.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Hell no.
I can't co-sign that shit, sir. I cannot co-sign that shit. Are you kidding me right about now? McFeezy said, preach Sluggo. No, don't preach Sluggo. Don't preach Sluggo.
Oh, sorry. That's not right.
Y'all gonna leave me alone. Ha! JBJ said, onion powder. This nigga scared. Hey, sir. Like I said, I can do onion powder. I don't do onions. It is what it is. I know it don't seem right. And again, it sounds hypocritical. I mean, you can pretend. I guess it sounds hypocritical. I guess. But no. For me, no. And again, I apologize for things that I don't have. Yeah, and McFeezy, I've recently made homemade gumbo, and you're right. McFeezy said the key to gumbo is the roux. The darker the roux, the better. 1000%. I made a chocolate roux. McFeezy.
You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
McFeezy, I recently made collard green gumbo, and I made it in a chocolate roux. And I prefer that. I'm probably going to do that from now on because okra is necessary for gumbo to taste right. But with the collard green gumbo, there's no okra in it because obviously the collard greens take the place of it. And I found that preferable. So from now on, for me, I'm probably only going to make collard green gumbo. But preach on the roux being the key. And I prefer a chocolate roux. The darker the roux, the better. Jungle Brother said, "Yo, Fox News Feezy, where do you get your truffle butter? Where do you get your truffle butter shipped to your house from? England or Sri Lanka?"
Who raised you? Who raised you?
Truffle butter is hysterical, sir. McFeezy said, "I didn't get any alerts. I put it in the message board, my Facebook Underground Railroad Show page, X or Twitter. It goes out on my Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Hit me up, man. I'll make sure you get it from now on. If it's just a matter of not knowing, just hit me up and I'll make sure you get it." Jungle Brother said, "I don't have my Facebook alert notification on. Mocha is the reason I know you was on." That's crazy. But shout out to Mocha then. We got Poetic Sins on the train. What up, Poetic Sins? You asked about the show the other day. Thanks for making it aboard. This is great time. And we're about to do a quick review. Hope y'all enjoy it. As people are speaking, okay, great time. And okay, let's go ahead and get into it. This is a 10th annual show on religion review. The Reverend Raider for Life was on the show for me, did a great job. We got one more chat. Then we're going to get into it. Jungle Brother said, "Listening to Fox News Feezy talk about a roux is like listening to Bookman on Good Times talk about Violet upside down cake."
You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160. You're a goddamn genius. That's the most outstanding answer I've ever heard. You must have a goddamn IQ of 160.
No, Poetic Sins, I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook until they delete it. So I'm on those platforms. So I'm live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. If you can find my page on YouTube, it's That Ninja. If not, I'll post the show after. Twitch doesn't keep a show longer than 2 hours, so I have to repost the show on YouTube. Or I have to repost the show from YouTube. So actually, I'm on YouTube, but we use Twitch in the chat. And, perhaps that'll change one day. On Facebook, it's T Tiller. T-E-E Tiller. So I'm T Tiller on Facebook. So that's where I'm at on Facebook. The I don't know, maybe it seems like it would make more sense to go to YouTube, and maybe one show I'll just send out YouTube alerts and we'll go with that chat room and see how it goes. But we'll do that one day, perhaps. And on YouTube is That Ninja. And for whatever reason, if you look my name up, sometimes you'll get me, but it's not as easy as you should be able to look my name up and I should come right up, but such is not the case. Hence me having to send out alerts sometimes. So maybe if I get my weight up a little bit, my name will actually come up if you punch it up. I got you, Poetic. I got you. When I get a second, I'll slide over there and I'll and I will befriend you. I'll befriend you. All right, so let me set this up. This is the 10th annual Show on Religion Review. This is a good summarization of the show so you can get an idea of what it is. I think you'll enjoy this. 9 clips, none of them longer than 4 minutes. 4 minutes or less on all of these clips, I believe. And let's start it like this. I was going to do a show yesterday, anniversary of my father's passing, but it just at one point in the day, mentally I wasn't there, and I didn't need to do the show. It would have been I don't know, probably would have been an angry ass show. I didn't need to do the show, so I didn't do it. But as I was, wallowing in my pity and stuff and pouring drinks and doing what I do on that day, I'm out there, kicking it in my garage like I do, chilling. That's when I decided, man, I'm not going to do it. This is a bad day for me to do it. So I let it go, and I just sat around and, did what I did. Both of those were terrible fucking English. I decided to sit around and just kind of chill out. At one point, I got up and said, let me go to the mail. I went to the mailbox because earlier when I was getting my routine meaning workout, I looked out the window and saw the mail lady. And I noticed she was at my mailbox for a while. I was like, that's interesting. Went on with my routine, got done with the routine. That's when I decided, I don't think I want to do a show today. And from that point forward, I was just catching the buzz for the rest of the day. That's what I was on for that. Had some things happen at work. And then I actually had some work shit that threw my timeline off. So I would have been in a bad way. I would have been in a bad way if I had done a show because something happened that I had to tend to because of somebody else's incompetence. So I really would have been hot. So it's probably a good thing I didn't. But at any rate, I'm sitting around and I go to the mailbox. And I'm in the middle of whatever I'm doing. I'm buzzing, reminiscing, doing things to distract myself and distract my thoughts. And I go to the mailbox, and first thing is it's a priority mail letter. And while the woman was at my mailbox forever because she was smashing and quite frankly damaging the priority mail, shoving it into my mailbox. As a matter of fact, Reverend Raider for life, you are a proprietor and a upper echelon individual in the U.S. mail system. You work for the post office. You're upper level type of cat. What is the proper protocol if you have priority mail that doesn't necessarily fit the mailbox? Are they supposed to walk that up to the door? Are they supposed to leave a notice saying, come to the place and get it? And keep in mind, the post office is so close to where I live, I could walk to the post office and be back at my house in less than 10 minutes. Well, I probably have to jog. You know what? No, I could walk over there and walk back 15 minutes tops. It's like right there. I can see it from my house. The post office is nowhere. So if I had to go get it, that wouldn't be a big deal. But I watched this woman as I was working out shove something in my mailbox, and I come later to find out. I go to the mailbox, taking a break in between, sipping and whatnot, chilling. And what do I see in the mail? I see a priority mail sent from Reverend Raider for life. Reverend Raider for life sent me priority mail. And I was trying to figure out, what is this about?
Amen, preacher.
He asked for my address and he told me he was going to send me something. And apparently this is what he was going to send me. And it provided the perfect distraction and cemented the show that I was going to do today. And when I got it, and it took my mind off of things for a minute, I just started laughing. And I said, this would be an instance where Raider would say, he's trying to talk to you, ninja. But Reverend Raider sent me a book. We Were There, The Black Presence in the Bible and Early Christianity by Dr. Clifton R. Clark. A notation from Raider reads, my son-in-law's father wrote this. My son-in-law's father wrote this book. I hope that it's enjoyable for you, Raider. Raider, I'm going to read this. And this is a reference point for some of the things that we were talking about. And let me give you the preface, one paragraph from the preface. and I'm going to get into the show. In this book, I will attempt to briefly overview the Black presence in the Bible and its contribution to early Christianity. The purpose of this book is not to highlight the Black presence or Black history to dominate the Christian story, but rather to celebrate the Black contribution to the multicultural and metahistorical story of the Bible and early Christian history. The book, and others like it, is necessary and indeed important because there have been at best an ignorance of the Black presence in the Bible and contribution to Christian history, and at worst a mendacious attempt to suppress the contribution of Black people to the story of the Bible and Christian history. The brief sketch of the Black presence in the Bible and Christian history is not intended to provide a detailed analysis, but rather a snapshot of some of the characters, events, and history that will empower Black people who have been taught that their history has had little to no impact on Christian history. Now, there are so many things I have to say just about that paragraph. I'm not going to do it now, but Raider for Life, I'm going to read that and I will report back to you. Perhaps we'll do another show and talk about it. Which brings me to this. This is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. I saw a post that said, and again, I haven't been keeping up with it, but I had imagined from that post that I saw, apparently it's looking like Oklahoma City and Indiana are going to be in the finals. And this post was in reference to that. And I'm paraphrasing, but it said, and as a matter of fact, this person was not co-signing it. They had question marks and they were saying that it was bullshit. But they said, Oklahoma City and Indiana equals a boring NBA Finals. And they had question marks. And I think they were saying that that was bullshit. Maybe they weren't. But my point about that is that, and how I'm going to relate it to what I'm about to say, that's what I like to refer to as lazy journalism. If Oklahoma City and Indiana make it to the finals, there's a story that accompanies them that you could tell. What reporters are really saying, because that's where that comes from, that's a reporter's narrative. What they're really saying is, I already had my story written with the finals that I was thinking about and the storylines that I had in my head. I'd rather not have to work and actually talk about what's in front of me. That entire statement and premise is based on a lazy ass media and lazy ass people in general that might co-sign that believe or think or have been taught and trained to believe that I have to have a storyline to accompany the game. The storyline is this team making it. The storyline are the players involved. It's lazy as hell for journalists to say it's going to be a boring NBA Finals. What they're really saying is, I already had a finals in mind and this isn't it. So rather than cover it, they'd rather waste everybody's time by telling you why this game isn't what everybody wants to see instead of covering the damn game for what it is. One of the reasons I don't like the mainstream media, they're so damn lazy at the end of the day. And I liken that to the conversation I have on religion, and a lot of people are lazy and unstudied, and instead of saying, I didn't know that, let me look into it, they do things like the media does, and they try to throw it away or wrap it up in, anger, as opposed to just saying, you know what, I'm not educated on that, let me look into it. And that's what the media should say. I'm not educated on Oklahoma City because I thought they weren't going to win. Now's an opportunity for me to look into it. And it kind of goes into that entire, this is not a good time of year to talk about sports. Once again, this is just an excuse for the lazy ass mainstream media who are really unskilled and can't talk about anything without a spoon-fed headline. I love this time of year because I can do shows like the annual show on religion. So with that in mind, I had a great time talking to the Reverend Raider for Life, and we went over a few things. And once again, this is the Underground Railroad Show hosted by your boy, That Ninja. Me double check the, okay. Sluggo said, too lazy to walk to your front door. Shaking my head. Yeah. So let's get into this, and let's start here. Okay, good. Everything's in place, and we're going to start. Okay, this would be a safe place to start. Okay, so we talked about several things, and as I spoke on, I couldn't get every thought out. I couldn't get everything that was on my mind out, even though the show was 5 hours long, and I talked to him probably for at least 3.5 to 4 hours. So let's just highlight a few things. Again, just a back and forth, nice little discussion, in my opinion. And I didn't finish that thought I had. But again, hey, Raider, thank you for sending the book. It was good timing. It was a nice distraction. I'm going to read this book. And again, just that paragraph, I have so many things to say off of that. So I'd imagine this is going to be an interesting read. So I hadn't hit Raider up personally and told to tell him that. But if you're still listening, sir, thanks for the book. It was good timing. It was a good distraction. And I'm going to elaborate, read that, and, perhaps do something with that. Perhaps that can be, perhaps we can discuss. This will be a good way for us to both read something and you take away from it certain things and I may take away other things. Or maybe we will coincide with some of the things that we get when we read this book, and we can discuss that as well. So perhaps that'll be something that we do in the future. Another show I can do before football season. Again, it's only May. It's not June yet. June, July, August. I have 3 more months of just being creative and doing all the little things I like to do in shows I like to talk about, such as Annual Show on Religion. So let's start here. This would be a good place to start, I believe. We had a nice discussion, and at one point in the conversation, we talked about Western Christianity. And let's hear Raider's thoughts on some of Raider's thoughts on Western Christianity, and I'll kind of elaborate as we play these clips, and hopefully I'm not out of place. So I think I have these labeled correctly. Let's start here with Raider's thoughts on Western Christianity.
So I believe that you, ABM, Sidney Jackson, JB, Sluggo, everybody in this chat, I believe that each of you are made in God's image. Mm-hmm. I believe that 100%. I believe that all of us were created in God's image. I believe that 100%. And because of that, I believe that every person that I run across has value because God created them. I believe that God's given all of us a conscience. So yes, we can find ourselves in situations in which we know what we need to do and we do it. And what happens sometimes is that we get into the situation where we know what we need to do and we choose not to do it. Mm-hmm. We go against what we know is right. That happens. So I believe that foundationally, yeah, we're all created in God's image. I believe that 100%. I think also that what's important for our conversation is, and I've said this every time we got on. Okay. We have to separate American Westernized Christianity from true Christianity. The way this has evolved was done on purpose. It was done to justify slavery. It was done to justify oppression. It was done to protect the status quo of white people in this country. And so all of those things happened to preserve the economic status of white people in this country. I make no bones about that. But I also believe that what they taught was, let me use a ninja phrase, it was a bastardized version of Christianity.
Okay, and
And you always come to that point. And again, this is the 10th annual show on religion featuring the Reverend Raider for Life. And thank you for doing this, sir. And again, I'll say what I always say. And again, some of this is regurgitated, but there's some new listeners. I get what you're saying, but I don't think we can get off of that, because I'm concerned with black people, and most black people believe in the Western version of Christianity. I don't think they've looked into it the way that you look into it. I don't think they think about it the way that you think about it. I think that a couple of things that you just said would get you looked at in a peculiar way if you're in the back room counting up the tithes. I just don't, I'm serious. You would get looked at cross-eyed saying some of these things as they're counting up the tithes and putting it in their personal account, allegedly. I digress. I'm sorry. That was too much. But I'm just saying that most of us are under the enchantment and the spell of Western Christianity and the image of that Jesus that I'm talking about. So I get where you're coming from, but I think if we do that, I think I'm rationalizing what's actually happening and leaving out the part of the conversation that has to be had, because that's really where the issue lies. Because if we weren't there as a people, it wouldn't be a problem. But when I watch it being used to rationalize behavior, when I see the devil being used as a scapegoat, I've just seen it in my own family and just in life too many times. I've seen. So again, Raider was giving his take on Western Christianity. I'm sorry, on excuse me, Western Christianity. And again, I think that, and perhaps I'm naive, but I think that if that was the consensus, it would be a tad bit healthier, but I don't think it is a consensus. But I mean, great points, articulately put out very, nice and articulately by Raider for Life. And I believe this is what I had to say in response to that, or just more or less continuing said conversation. And once again, this is the 10th annual show on religion review. Had a nice little opening where we've talked for a couple of hours. I always enjoy that. And now we get into some short clips, and we're just going to elaborate on a couple of things and just give people a short synopsis of what went on during the annual show on religion. So we had these thoughts, and believe this is me speaking about the same thing. And he spoke about, very articulately about Western Christianity and how it was bastardized to push that agenda of white supremacy and to justify slavery and whatnot. And I'm giving my take on it and the issues I have with it, I believe, in this clip. I get where you're coming from, but unfortunately, because most of us are not where you're at, not where Raider Kev is at, not where most of the people in the chat are at, I don't think that's right or productive or the best way to go about it. Now, if you want to remove it and kind of just go with the discussion like that is what it is, I'm all for it, but I just want to let it be known that the reason I always stop there is because that's my issue. Most people most people would cut this off. Most people would unfollow me. Most people would start calling people, he a devil worshiper or what the hell ever. That's what most people would do. They wouldn't listen. So again, exception, not the rule. So if you'd like to, we can, but the reason why I don't, I'm not trying to bog it down, but from my experience, most people aren't as knowledgeable as you are and as the people in the chat room are. They take secondhand information, run with it, and it's detrimental in so many ways, as it is positive. It's almost like doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? You get a good feeling, but I'm sorry, I'm doing too much, but I'm not saying there aren't good things to it. I'm just saying if you acknowledge the bad, you can maybe eliminate that. Again, a la carte. I'll take this, I'll take that, but I won't take that. So, we just kind of had that back and forth about Western Christianity and the issues. And again, really not that far away. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it, but not really that far away. It was just more of we're really saying the same things, but I don't necessarily believe that Raider for Life's opinion is, I don't think his desire to seek information, and he'll clarify about this a little bit later, but I don't think that his thirst for information is shared by everybody. I have an uncle that just got his master's in theology. People like Raider for Life, like my uncle, that thirst for knowledge and actually studying, I don't know if that is the norm. I don't know that is the norm. And I actually need to call that man and tell him congratulations, actually. It's only been through social media. That's not good enough. I digress. But I can respect Raider because, number one, he can speak with conviction about things. He can give you reference points. He's not stuttering. He's not doing the atypical cowardly. He's not basically, when people aren't informed, they tend to lash out. And instead of doing that, he spoke about what he knows and what he studied. And if he wasn't sure about something, or if I'm not sure about something, we say something that most people aren't willing to say. I don't know. And I think that helps with the conversation. So that was just a small example of the fact that we're not that far away. And again, we'll clarify on this. Let me make sure I'm in the right place. And I think this might be a good place to go. I'm trying to see here. That is the here. Tell you what, we'll come back here in 1 second. Let's go here. We even, the chat room adds things. So something that was recently in the headlines, concerning, religion and or somebody popular, in religion and or in gospel and their actions. And, we both were able to give our take on that. So this is an example of the chat room adding something to the show that I didn't think about asking about because, you're in the middle, we're talking, we're going back and forth, there's kind of a flow going. There are some questions and sometimes we're just, going back and forth and saying certain things. There are moments of humor, but, sometimes you need the chat room to reel you in. And this question was asked by the chat room. Skywalker said Marvin Sapp told the deacons to close the doors and told the congregation the dollar amount they needed to tithe. Then Ricky Smiley went on a rant trying to defend what Marvin Sapp did. And that's a great chat. My interpretation of that, and preach on that, sir.
Who told you that?
God damn anybody who doesn't glorify his work.
That's what I mean by people that just won't just say what it is. Like, because of his success in life or his beliefs, he's defending bullshit. That's to me, the equivalent I would say is than a bad cop, a murderous race soldier in uniform, and instead of getting rid of that motherfucker, you trying to defend bullshit. That individual in that instance made a mistake. At a bare minimum, I'm sorry, that was wrong. I won't do it again. Nothing less than that will do. But all of that, I was misinterpreted. Close the doors. You were not misinterpreted. So that's another instance of what I'm saying is like, so many of us are like that. Instead of just keeping it real, you're co-signing bullshit. And they're doing that because that image is in the back of their head, in my opinion.
It's bad. It's bad optics. I heard, the reason I heard is, first of all, he said he's done this plenty of times. It's I guess it was a fundraising event for some ministry or whatnot. But
yeah, it was a big event, and he said it was a fundraising thing. Yes, sir.
And then the idea is that they say they close the doors all the time because they're trying to prevent robberies and stuff. So that's fine, your reasoning, but the optics are bad. I know people who have been. I got a friend to this day who kind of turned away from certain Christian things because she went with another friend to this women's gathering. Mm-hmm. And they closed the doors and wouldn't let anybody out. And she freaked out. And she never went back to anything associated with that ministry again. So I'm never for that. That's bad. Don't ever make somebody feel like they're trapped.
And again, the feelings about that situation. I spoke my mind. Raider for Life spoke his mind. But again, unlike Ricky Smiley, he didn't try to defend that. And that's why I think people fall short. You can have a flawed hero, or you can have somebody that has good qualities that you can take advice from, but maybe they do things or say things you don't agree with. And I think that people have gotten so far away from that. And the other thing is that you have to be aware that people will hustle in the name of the Lord. They will wrap their hustle up in Christian clothing, which will shield them from accountability and ridicule from some. Because they've been taught that you shouldn't, because some believe that the unwillingness to call those things out, the way Ricky Smiley wouldn't call out Marvin Sapp for what he did. In that moment, he was wrong. That's it. I apologize. I was wrong. I won't do it again. But instead, you misinterpreted. You looked at it wrong. No, you were wrong. That was bullshit. Why don't you just say I was wrong? I won't do that again. That was wrong. Close the doors. Close the doors. So that was an interesting take, and that came from the chat. And Raider actually expounded upon that particular chat, and I'll get to that in 1 second. Sluggo said, "When you can't defend your argument, you'll simply deflect. That's what mainstream has taught our people." And I agree wholeheartedly. It's they'll deflect, get offended. It's really weird because I know that that's what the others do, because I'll have these conversations and that is their technique. And it's very disappointing to watch us deteriorate into that. It's sad that there's a lack of conversations. That a conversation is an opportunity to have opposing views and perhaps learn something, or at least come to some type of compromise and or respect for each other's opinion. And you can do that as long as somebody can speak articulately about it and is based in some type of fact. If your foundation is flimsy, it's hard for me to take what you're saying seriously. I'm not trying to be dismissive, but give me a solid foundation, and from that, I can respect what it is that you're saying. But with a flimsy foundation, it's hard to listen sometimes. Sluggo saying, "When you can't defend your argument, you'll simply deflect. That's what mainstream has taught our people." I agree, sir. Now, Raider for Life expounded upon that when we talked about the Marvin Sapp situation. And again, he spoke about how a woman went to a retreat and they locked the doors. A lot of people will, again, take their personal desires and their personal goals and wrap it up in Christian clothing so they can get away with bullshit. Under normal circumstances, you could never get away with that. But shrouded in this cloak of Christianity, you can do things like lock doors, tell people to give you money, and act like you're not attempting a robbery based in, really the worst type of robbery, a faith-based robbery. So, I think these things should be spoken about so people will understand that, in that situation, it's wrong, even if they're trying to shroud and wrap it up in so-called Christianity. But Raider expounded upon that when discussing tithing and people and or certain churches requesting funds, and actually specific funds, certain amounts, and even wanting to look at your W-2s. These are Reverend Raider's thoughts on tithing. There was one time in particular, I'll never forget this. I'll make this short. I can't remember where I was at, because again, I should be able to pinpoint it. I don't. Y'all didn't hear any of that. I didn't know I was muted. Tell me tell me the last thing you heard, because I don't know where I was muted. Tell me the last thing you heard. I didn't realize I was muted then. And I know now. I played a clip and it was the wrong clip. Okay, this is what happened. That was the wrong clip. I said I was going to play Raiders' response to the tithing thing, and that's the wrong clip. Because this thing kind of cuts off what I wrote, so it's hard to read it. So now I remember where I was at. What I was saying is that was the wrong clip, so let me start another one. But before I did that, I had neglected to take a shot at the top of the hour, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I just took those two shots. And now, top of the hour, it is 9 o'clock. RIP DT, shot for Pop. Now, I believe this is the clip I wanted to play. Let's make sure here. So, that one's gone. That one's gone. Only played. No, that one's gone too. So, we should be here. Okay. Should be here. I believe this is Raider for Life expounding upon tithing.
Ninja, I think
Nope. It's not that one. See, I see we here, not there yet. Not there. It has to be this one. Has to be this one. All right, here we go.
I just don't see it. And okay, let's just say for the sake of the conversation that he did exist. If Jesus died for
different area, so it has to be this one. I apologize. These things, the way it labels it cuts off the back side of it, and that's where I had the indicators. So I believe this is Raider responding to the issue of tithing.
Again, sir, respectfully, all of this honesty is going to go against what most people are doing. Sir, if most proprietors and practitioners of said religion were similar to you, I could respect it.
Okay, we're just going to go here, and perhaps I had it mislabeled, but we're going to go back. We're going to go back to that. But this is me. We're having a back and forth, and I'm speaking to Raider about some of the things that he's saying and how I feel about it. So we're going to start right here and just listen to the conversation and how it went organically. Again, all these clips, nothing's longer than 4 minutes. Most are right around 3 minutes or so.
And I'm not doubting and dissing the ones that are good, but
wait. I need to start that over. My apologies.
You're a devil.
Different system. All right. And here we go with Raider for Life.
Again, sir, respectfully, all of this honesty is going to go against what most people are doing. Sir, if most proprietors and practitioners of said religion were similar to you, I could respect it. And I'm not doubting and dissing the ones that are good, but I think we should. It's almost the same philosophy I have as the ninjas that have good white friends, and because you do, you're scared to say something about all the ones that are fucked up. Just because they're good pastors doesn't mean you can't speak on the ones that are fucked up. And that's really what I'm trying to dispel. And I think that you would be one of those good ones, sir. And I can confidently say this, and it's not because I'm in a state of euphoria as I always am during these shows. It's not because of that. It's because I can actually respect what you're saying and your conviction. And I would actually come and hear you speak, sir. And that's not something I would normally do. Not my building. I'm not trying to catch your building on fire and come in there with all of my impure thoughts, because I'm going to have them. I promise you. So I'm just, and again, that's another reason. I'm like, I don't need to go in here with all my impure thoughts. I'm going to have bad intentions, but I would come and hear you speak, sir. I really would. But again, those type of things that you're saying, sir, you're going to cause financial hardship. And you're going to be politely kicked out with a smile and a few biblical passages, probably. But I respect it, sir. I just think it's detrimental in today's world. You're going to mess up the money.
Well, Ninja, did you know that it's possible to have a mind that isn't crowded by impure thoughts?
Okay, let me say this. What if I don't want a mind that isn't crowded by impure thoughts? What if I think of that as something that's really, really sad? I like
that's fine. I just wanted to tell you that it's possible. That's all.
Okay, listen, I hear that. You know, okay, fuck it. Let's stay right there. You know what? Respectfully, sir. Respectfully. My humble opinion, let me just give you something I've said for years. The only way that a man is not having those thoughts or moving in that manner is one, he's been brainwashed.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Can I say it? Okay, I'll just say it. One, he's either been brainwashed through fear of religion, you know, which we can call that same thing. Two, this individual happens to be moist. Or three, he was traumatized in life and is confused about who he is. But outside of these three things,
hold up. That what does that mean? What does that mean, Ninja? Traumatized and doesn't know what is. Can you be a little more frank with that description?
He was once a Catholic altar boy.
So why are we using euphemisms now?
I'm just saying. I thought you caught what I was saying. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, that's the only thing that calms those type of thoughts and whatnot down. And again,
so again, the what I found interesting with Raider and what I enjoyed about the conversation is that he was prepared, and as he spoke about it, this is his phrasing. I believe he said, if I haven't learned anything else from you, is that you're not going to come on air unprepared, so I'm not going to be unprepared. And that to me, led to a nice convo. And I mean when I said, I felt that, Raider does a good job. And I would go to my uncle's church, which I haven't yet. I'm going to go at one point. They're going to trip out and shit, but I'm going to go at one point. I'm going to go see my uncle because I respect him in that manner. And I would deal with Raider in that manner because I respect him as a man, especially being able to come on and have that conversation with me, which most people would not. Now, right here, I believe is what I was talking about earlier. This is Raider speaking about his words, detoxing, detoxing from Western Christianity once he just saw some things he couldn't deal with. And I think that something like this is what separates him, you, the listeners that bother to listen to me when I do this, Raider Kev, who's done the show with me. I'm always going to have reverence for those individuals because most people won't just have a simple conversation for fear of retribution or, whatever it may be. So I appreciate the convo and the willingness to have one. But this is Raider talking about detoxing from Western Christianity. As a matter of fact, before we do that, let's go here. Every year, Raider does this. Every year. It's almost the same thing every year. At one point or another, he tells me how, and again, this is what, somebody of his ilk would do. And I can, because if you believe it is literally your job to bring people to your faith because you believe that is their salvation. But he does it in a way that is palatable. And this is an example of that. And he literally does this every time we've had these conversations. This is the third year. So he's done this twice before. And he did it again this year. And as always, I find it to be amusing. And again, another thing about the show is we go back and forth. We have, what some would consider deep or at least thoughtful or topical conversations. And then there's also, some of that mixed in with a little bit of comedy.
Okay, where we at? Sidney Jackson said, Ninja, in today's world,
once again, my bad. This is what I meant to play. Another example of this is something Raider does every year, and this makes the third installment of this. But I get this every year from Raider for Life. But again, he does it in a way that's palatable and somewhat amusing.
Ninja, I think you are close.
You say this every time. You say this every time. What am I close to, sir? What am I close to? What am I close to, sir?
You know, it's a Bible passage where Jesus said, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man will hear my voice, I will eat with him, and he can eat with me." You are there. He is knocking on the door.
Hey, Raider, listen, man. I respect you enough. At current moment, lost cause, man. Don't waste your time on me. Don't waste your time on me right now. Lost cause. Let me get a little bit older and realize my mortality, and I'll do like everybody else do. Oh, so beautiful. Come to me.
No, I'm just saying, man. No, I just look. Even as I not, microphones pick up everything. That's all I'm gonna say. So.
You a wild boy, sir. I appreciate you, though. I appreciate you. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
I think, Sluggo brought up something, and I'll follow back up when you get to the chat. But you just said something about you like the concept of rebirth. And there's actually a parallel to in Christianity. It's called being born again. It's a similar concept, but you don't die, like physically die and have to come back as something else. It's like, the best way to put it, the analogy is that you die to your old ways, and it's like God breaks you of the old things that perhaps had you wrapped up, and he gives you a new life, and it's the change that I was talking about. It's called being born again. Being born again. I'm sure, in your 40-some years of life, you've heard that phrase time and time again. But it's a similar concept.
I recall that phrase. You're speaking of being a born-again Christian, correct, sir?
Yep.
When someone realizes their woes, they dedicate themselves and their lives to change. They become a born-again Christian. So essentially, washing the blood, all that good stuff, correct?
That is correct.
I do get that. I've ran across born-again Christians, and it's been a good thing. There have been other times when it was aggravating. Like that person you used to kick it with, and they want to call you and tell you about how they, like this. I want to see the old version of you. But, it also... I'm serious. You should have hollered at me before you saved. What's the point of this? I'm sorry. But I'm just saying that, I understand what you're talking about. But when we're speaking about that, we're talking about somebody changing their mindset and, trying to walk a straighter path. But again, hearing that, that's essentially what they're speaking of as reincarnation. Again, to me, if we're going to do fairy tales or do very improbable stories, well, I might as well go with that. I come back as whatever. You know what I'm saying? If I don't do right, maybe I come back as an animal or some bullshit. But I'm not burning in fires. That's all I'm saying. If I'm gonna pick and choose my fairy tales, let me choose something that make me feel better. I don't like the fire. Give me that version of reincarnation. Give me that, and give me another chance to get to nirvana. Rather than being stuck. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ninja, the thing is, all of your problems it always seems like it's related to what you see other people do. And I'm just asking you in all sincerity, okay, let me put it to you this, and this is what I wanted to mention to you before. I've been in the process since probably 2012 of detoxing from American Christianity. Like, you know, I got saved in 1989. I was, 22, 23 years old.
Good God.
With a life that you're living presently in Huntsville, Alabama, apart from some things, is what I was living prior to, you know, back before 89.
What life is that, sir?
Well, you know.
What life is that, sir? Hey, lack of details only help the wicked. What life is that, sir?
You know, the love and marriage, Huntsville life. And to the chat, y'all didn't tell me that Ninja was out here living that single life. I had a conversation with Ninja earlier today, and he's sharing stuff, and he's like, life is going well.
Yes! Dope, man! Yes!
So I asked him, I said, so man, am I going to see you on this love and marriage Huntsville? He's like, no, sir. Well, you know how he talks. Well, actually, there's a possibility, you know how
No, man, don't see again. See how he's giving out this misinformation. All I was saying is there's a slight chance of a camera glance if I was in one or two spots. That's all. But as far as being a cast member, 0%, sir.
I didn't say
camera glance.
I said you might randomly show up. You know, I already told you. Ninja got his starch jeans on. Like, hey, how you doing? And then I found out that, you know, Amy Amber came out and look, didn't talk to him inside Starbucks. Came out to the parking lot. What's been going on in 2025?
Hey man, this is an inside conversation. What the hell's going on right now? That's what's the inside. See how Christians do? See how they do?
Man,
That's
I've been
exactly
trying that. Man, I got to get these jokes off, man.
Hey, listen, like I said, it was happenstance, but nobody would believe it. I was doing that show with the greatest, and this one of them just came out and had a casual conversation with me. But the timing was impeccable for jokes. It was impeccable. To quote 334 Bama, Amy has made an appearance.
Oh man!
Do you mind if I catch up on some of this chat, sir?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And again, he does that every year. He always tells me, Ninja, you're close. That's to be expected. That's to be expected. And as I'm looking at this now, I remember where everything is. This is one that probably should have been played earlier. But again, a little bit of humor come out of it, and we have some couple more thoughts from the chat room. But this is almost how the initial conversation almost started along these lines right here. Before I continue, Sluggo in the chat said, born again, like other concepts, are remixed from other variations of religions, but nobody wants to dig deeper into that. And born again, like I spoke at the opening of that show he's talking about, I spoke about Buddhism. And that even came up in this show. It might be on this clip, but I talked about Buddhism and reincarnation. You can relate being born again to reincarnation to a degree. Reincarnation is a little more literal. You come back as something, but your soul and or spirit continues to live on in a different form. It's there are a lot of things that are relatable, but through my studies, I see where he's coming from as far as Kinkoing and copying said religion. This is earlier in the conversation discussing, you know what, let's not be specific. I'll let the clip speak for itself. This is earlier in the conversation as we have clips, and we have, I believe, three more after this. And this is kind of how the conversation kicked off in concert with the following clip.
I just don't see it. And okay, let's just say for the sake of the conversation that he did exist. If Jesus died for our sins, why are we still praying to be forgiven now? Shouldn't we be good? Or it doesn't work like that? It's like it expired, need a coupon, or what?
Well, he talked about it. He talked about it with his disciples. You know, he gave an analogy. So they walked around in sandals. They had dusty feet. And Jesus was talking to them about, you don't have to, he's talking about them being washed, and he's speaking about their sins. And the disciple that's washing his foot, oh, Lord, don't just wash my head, but wash me whole. And he was talking about the idea that there's the initial forgiveness that takes place when you're forgiven and you become a follower of Christ. And then there's the day-to-day stuff where it's, I do something wrong, I can ask the Lord to forgive me for that thing, but I don't have to start the process all over again and start from the beginning. I don't have to start from scratch. It's the idea that if I've sinned, if I've done wrong, what is sin? Sin is a breaking of the law. What is sin? Sin is missing the mark. That's how biblically defined. It's missing the mark. So if I've missed the mark on something, whatever it might be, then I can go and ask for forgiveness for that specific thing. So that's how that works.
Is that a passage or is that rationalization, sir?
No, it's a passage. Let me pull this up. First things first. Let me get you this.
He died for. So he died. So okay, he's like a bookie. He basically got the note on all of our sins, and we got to check in with him. So we got to pay him back.
Whoa, wait, a bookie?
He's like a bookie. He's a bookie for our sins. So like he basically took on our sins, but we got to check in with him if we cash in the sins, so he can get his share. I'm just saying, he didn't necessarily, if we were forgiven, we could, kind of get buck wild with it. But basically what he's saying is that's the predecessor or the intercessor between him and his father, but he is his father. But I'm just saying, he's like a bookie then, right? He's basically a bookie then. So he took on all our sins so he could have our loyalty and praise and whatnot. So I'm going to handle y'all sins, but you better holler at me every now and again. Or it's going to be hell to pay, literally.
No. That's not quite how. No.
That makes a little more sense.
All right. So
I think you kind of put packaging on it, but that's what you're saying, man.
Let's unpack what you said.
Okay.
I don't live in fear of being struck down when I do wrong, because when you're in the family, you're in the family. Your daughter will never not be your daughter because she is your child. And because I've given my life to Christ, he's changed my life. I will never not be his son. And with that comes privileges, which means that if I mess up, I can not only go to him and ask forgiveness. If it's something that gets a hold of me, I can ask him to help me to deal with it.
And again, right there, as you can see, I cast out a couple of jokes here and there. But that's what I like about Raider. Even when I throw those jokes out, every now and again, I might get him to laugh or something, but he always has a response. You know what I'm saying? He always has a response, which I can respect. And that kind of happened earlier in the conversation. So we've kind of jumped around, had a couple of, thoughts here and there, but overall interesting conversation, had fun with it. And I'm still enjoying this. I'm still enjoying like listening to the replay. Still enjoying that. And as I look over it, I'm trying to see what would be the best one. I think this is a good spot to go. Let's go here. And again, I think we have 3 more clips, I believe. But just a nice little summarization of kind of, what happened on the show. And this is really a small sample. Very small sample.
Again, sir, respectfully, all of this honesty is going to go against what most people are doing Sir, if most proprietors and practitioners of said religion were similar to you, I could respect it. And I'm not doubting and dissing the ones that are good, but I think we should. It's almost the same philosophy I have as the ninjas that have good white friends. And
I'm trying to remember. I think I played this, but I stopped it. In my mind, I didn't finish this clip. This got slightly out of place. Played that one for sure. Played that one for sure. Played that one. Have not played that one. Have not played that one. Played this one. And if I got three more, it would be 1, 2, and 3. No, I couldn't have played this one all the way through. All right, so I'll play this one through, and it's 2 more after this. Just making sure.
And because you're scared to say something about all the ones that are fucked up. Just because they're good pastors doesn't mean you can't speak on the ones that are fucked up. And that's really what I'm trying to dispel. And I think that you would be one of those good ones, sir. And I can confidently say this, and it's not because I'm in a state of euphoria as I always am during these shows. It's not because of that. It's because I can actually respect what you're saying and your conviction. And I would actually come and hear you speak, sir. And that's not something I would normally do. Not my building. I'm not trying to catch your building on fire and come in there with all of my impure thoughts, because I'm going to have them. I promise you. So I'm just, and again, that's another reason. I'm like, I don't need to go in here with all my impure thoughts. I'm going to have bad intentions, but I would come and hear you speak, sir. I really would. But again, those type of things.
My apologies. I did play that one. I know where I'm at now. Okay, I know where I'm at now. So let's go. Yeah, here. And again, as we go through, some of it is concerning the topic, some of it is off topic, but it's all kind of within the framework of the show. And now I know where I've been. I apologize. That clip was played once.
Okay, where we at? Sidney Jackson said, Ninja, in today's world, calm knowledge discussions on different points of views are becoming rare. As rare as a white person bathing every day using soap and a washcloth. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. Raider, sorry that you're going to be able to hear this one clearly, but since this is like in your ear, tell me what you, this is, again, this is actually from the individual that just sent this, but, oh, I forgot. I know exactly where that is. I apologize for that pause. What do you think about this one, sir? Coinciding with that chat.
White people have never been clean. Not now, not ever.
Sir.
What? What?
My wife and I have conversations about a certain demographic that strongly believes that getting in the swimming pool is the same as taking a bath.
Oh my God. I've heard that before. And the amount of
true.
Like that, so that's you've experienced.
We know people.
You know people that believe that. The chlorine will clean them.
Yes.
There's a reason you're supposed to take a shower before you get in the pool. There's a reason. The amount of people that have come out and saying I only bathe once or twice a week, they're going, you know what they're doing? They're going against what the Moors broke. Europe used to be a very smelly continent until the Moors came and taught them about bathing. Before they thought bathing was an evil thing. So they literally didn't bathe. They literally didn't bathe. And they're like reverting back to that. That's crazy. That's why you're seeing all of this body deodorant. I get it in a pinch, running around doing stuff, but not in place of a shower, which is what a lot of people are going to do. I'm sorry.
And a washcloth.
And a washcloth, sir. Not a bare not a bare naked bar of soap with no type of scrubbing material but your hands. That's not okay.
Leave it up to Sidney Jackson. He is consistent and not inaccurate. Not inaccurate. Conversation went to, as I would call it, bastardized version in Western Christianity. Some old Raiders is closing a little bit too much. Some questions from the chat. And a nice little back and forth. And I felt to close, not to close, but another part of it that was worthy was Raider just speaking about how he detoxed in around 89. Around 89, kind of found his way. And there was actually one point where he didn't, what's the word? He didn't just blindly believe what he was told. And as he researched, he found conflict. And that's how he came to some of his beliefs and thought processes. So I think this kind of summarizes that. As we get to the last couple of clips and a short little summarization on the 10th annual show on religion.
It goes back to the church. It goes back to these early ideas, and people trying to find a way to justify doing the evil they did. Would take a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and they would twist the Bible to fit what they wanted. Like for example, they can't. This guy Cotton Mather, we might have heard of him back with the Salem witch trials and all that. Cotton Mather came up with the idea that everybody's soul is white. So they could preach the gospel to these slaves and they could be saved and accepted in the church because their soul was white. But because their body was black, that didn't give them equal rights to the other Christians, the white Christians. So I'm just saying that's why I'm saying this Western Christianity, it's a perversion of the truth. That's why I reject it. And I had said all that when I was talking before. I said I've been detoxing from Western Christianity is because a lot of what I grew up reading was a lot of white Christian authors and stuff. And some of the church, a couple of the churches I was associated with, they kind of embraced it. One was a white church. The one was a pastor. He was black. But they embraced certain of these ideas. And it took me a long time to just step back and say, nah, I got to pull back from this. And so, it was to the point where it has been difficult to read the Bible because I don't want to read it through the filter of white Christianity. So that's when I say I've been detoxing from it, that's what I meant. I was trying to talk about it earlier, and I started cracking jokes on you and got distracted. But
and again, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
I was just saying again, like when we really come around to, we're not that. We just have a few fundamental things we don't believe in. Really, just almost like different various religious disciplines. We just have a few things we disagree on. That's all. But again, sir, I agree on everything you're saying. And again, exception not the rule. Exception not the rule. And I would actually come to your church, and I'm not going to tell a lie. I'm not going to say I'm going to try to keep my thoughts unpure, but I would pay attention when you're talking. And I would wait till I get outside of the church to do impure things with my impure thoughts. Again, too much information, but...
Well, as long as I don't have praise dances, you might be good.
Hey, man. You know what? Let me stop. I'm sorry. Golly, I'm sorry. You didn't have the thought in my head just now.
But where you at, bro?
What was that? You mean?
Just trying to deal with you where you at, man. I wouldn't put you in that situation.
Hey, I mean, nothing wrong with interpretive dance. Nothing wrong with interpretive dance.
Okay, and what's important right there is the fact that I think that the Raider spoke right there. I think if most of us had that basis, or if that was the general consensus, I could be more comfortable with the state that we're in from a aspect of spirituality and or religious belief. But I think that a lot of people fall short of the things that he just said. And again, he could still deal with, my humor in that situation, yet and still remain focused in the goal that he's trying to put forth and not be put off by that. So I got to give him credit for that. And, not necessarily a normal thing. And I apologize. This went so much longer than I wanted it to. Let me play this last clip, and I'm probably going to shut it down. I have the cows. I'm not going to read them I'm not going to read them this late. I'm probably an hour past where I wanted to be. I didn't expect it to go this long. So that I do apologize for. And we'll close it out right here. With a couple of thoughts from me and thoughts on Raider on tithing and how it actually should be implemented or utilized in the church.
There was one time in particular, I'll never forget this. I'll make this short. I can't remember where I was at because again, I haven't been. I should be able to pinpoint it. Again, I'm just trying to give information to people that don't know. I haven't been to church a lot, not at all, not even a little bit. I hold them out. I at least 20 years. Like when I went, it's been for something: wedding, homegoing, stuff like that. Slave ritual, also known as a christening. But when I went for things like that. So one time I was at this church, and I'll never forget it. It might have been, I don't know if I was visiting somewhere. I don't know where I was at. But they passed the plate around, and the amount that was collected was not sufficient to the pastor. I'll never forget it. That man got on the mic and said, and I quote, we have collected the monies, and the monies are not enough to take care of the bills and needs of the church. So we are going to send the plates back around until we get what we need. Ooh, they started doing a little music and shit. And they started passing the plate. Dude, I'll never forget that pastor leaned in on the damn pulpit and was staring at everybody as they got the plate. I'll never forget that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? He was piercing people like, you better put some money in that fuck.
And again, what's he playing on? It's fear. People are scared not to do it. That's a shame. That's a shame.
It is. It is, and I guess my issue is with people that see that, and because again he's rapping his BS, he's rapping that BS in a Christian robe. They're scared to say something, and or they get indignant and defend said individual, and that's more along the lines of why I feel like there has to be a talk. But I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
So here's the big boogeyman in the room, and this is the great blessing. Okay. And it's also what caused the problems. The Christian has as much access to God as any preacher, priest, or pope. Any Christian, no matter how long they've been in the faith. And some people's livelihood depends on the fact that they make others believe that your access to God has to come through me. Therefore, you got to depend on me if you want to get to God. And that is not what Jesus taught. That is anti-Christian. That is contrary to the gospel of Jesus Christ. Everybody has equal access to God. That's the whole Reformation. Everybody has equal access to God. You don't have to go through the priest. You don't have to have... I can ask you to pray for me, but the blessing is that I can pray to God for myself anywhere at any time. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people who, it's the system that's in place where they've made others dependent upon them to get access to God. That is the tragedy.
Can't think of a better way to close it out with Raider for Life, man. Great job by you, sir. I appreciate it. Appreciate you sending me this particular text. I'm going to read it. We can discuss this later. I'll probably try to make a show out of it. My apologies. Started later than I wanted to, and then the opening lasted longer than I wanted to. A little late on the East Coast, so I apologize to y'all. Look, man, appreciate y'all for the back and forth. I'm going to do an abbreviated outro and get on out of here, man. Thank y'all for the back and forth. Thank you for the free therapy, as I always say. I appreciate it. Thank you, Raider for Life, for your participation on the 10th annual show on religion. Truly appreciate it, sir. Thank you to chat room for your participation, your jokes, and your poignant questions. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Appreciate y'all, man. I will see y'all next time. And as always, take care and be easy.